Yeah, if you've been watching the campaign for any point in time, especially Session 7, up until now, this should look frightening familiar. If you haven't, welcome. I'm Aiden. I don't get a chance to talk much to the actual audience, and every time that I have so far, it's not been over the most ideal of circumstances. I run a campaign, D&D 5e, for my friends. I run a remote campaign, where I don't compromise anything like dice rolls or minis or anything else like that. I have a full battle map, and in this environment here, in an overlay that I've set up, my players can see each other, they can see the battle map. I have another webcam over here and a swing arm, whatever. I invite you to check out any of the earlier episodes to see what I'm talking about, and if you stumbled across this just by accident, this is not going to be the most riveting recap. But as with Session 7, and I hope it's not in multiples of 7, 14 had a problem. 14, early on in the session, midway through combat, I had a power outage. I literally thought at first I had blinked wrong. It was that fast. I am the DM of this game. I'm also the technical guy who puts together the music that everybody gets to hear. I have my own music bot. I do all the other technical things, creating the overlay. I'm responsible for recording, watching audio levels, watching encoding frame levels, make sure that we're having a smooth recording. I'm responsible for making sure hard drive space is there. I do it all. And I do it all happily, and I do it all gladly. I originally just recorded my D&D 5e game because, for posterity's sake, I recorded my friends who he was running. And then all of a sudden I was like, boy, wouldn't it be neat if we had music? And then all of a sudden I was like, maybe I want to DM. But I wanted to do battle maps and everything else. So it's always been an evolution of that. I think that's something that I may have talked about in Session 7's overall. But it comes with its own challenges. DMing and wearing the technical hat at the same time doesn't always work. What can I do about a power outage? Short answer, absolutely nothing. What have I done is I went out and bought a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. So guess what? It's not happening again. My frustration with the way that Session 14 panned out is not a corruption of any video per se, or me not paying attention to the audio levels like Session 7. It is that I recorded in .FLV format. Video formats have different things. You've maybe heard of MP4, FLV, TS, so on and so forth. FLV is widely regarded as the most stable. It's also the kind of video format where, theoretically, you should have a complete video file if something like a power outage or hard drive space gets monopolized and the recording has to stop, unlike an MP4 where the whole video file will be corrupt. In this instance, whatever the heck happened, I'm honestly not entirely sure, except for I had a power outage and then ran the session, continued with my players. We had a good session. I will talk at length in a bit once I do recap up until the actual session will start, and we'll play the rest of the session, the part that was capturable. But I will talk a bit more about the specifics of that and my thoughts on how the session went. As every time that I run, there are lessons that I learn, and hopefully lessons that you can learn from me if you're at all interested in anything I'm creating or doing. At the very least, I'll run us through a short version of the session recap, of which there really wasn't too much, because unfortunately, just like Session 7, this is one of the sessions that I was more proud of. Sorry if any of my players are watching, but the creature that you fought at the beginning of the session and the creature that I now describe to you, the viewers, and you guys can see the descriptions because it starts midway through that combat, it's going to have more as the campaign goes on. Just like Session 7, in my opinion, was one of the session in Welter Grove was one of the more important for the campaign. It was a guide, a compass for a lot of my players, trying to find out what was next for them. So, that's the big shame, but I record it for posterity's sake. I am the technical guy and the DM and everything else all at once, and sometimes I just don't get it right. Theoretically, the only way that I could have resolved this was either already having a UPS or streaming to Twitch, because Twitch theoretically would have saved whatever it received as a VOD that I could then download and smash together. So one of the things that I'm also looking into is maybe streaming to Twitch, which brings a whole new level of technical issues that I then have to monitor. So that has always been a big fear for me, because I've already got my hands full sometimes. As you'll see, even when we pick up the recording one of the players' internet drops and then comes back, and in the middle of combat, I am busy trying to fix the overlay and run combat, and it's a lackluster experience for my players, but that is the nature of playing D&D with your friends remotely, and the sacrifices that I choose not to make. If we were playing over Roll20 or something, it would just be as easy as, oh, they dropped, I'll just skip their turn, okay, why don't you click on your dice rolls. So, anyway, I'll begin with a session recap. If you don't want to hear any of the nuances of my thoughts on how the session went, because I don't get a chance to talk often with you guys, the audience, which is really humbling now that I have the opportunity to talk to you, even under these terrible circumstances. I want to thank you, and I know that there are many of you that actually view the video and watch it, and I get to see the YouTube analytics. There are unique viewers, and each unique viewer watches for multiple hours, if not the entire session. So I know that every time that I run D&D and put one of these silly videos up, there are many people, dozens of people sometimes, that spend 4 hours each watching the session, or however long the session is, which easily multiplies up to dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of content that I've managed to create just by running and recording D&D for my friends. And I hope you've enjoyed it. Otherwise, I wonder why you're sticking around. At the very least, small session recap. If you don't want any of that business, skip to here. I'll put a timestamp there in the center. That's when the actual proper recording of the session starts, and you can see all the players, and we're only midway through combat. Sorry for stats. Stats are not going to be accurate at all, because I don't have a clue what in the world happened with that. I also apologize for my flusteredness. I'm not running off a script here. I'm just willy-nilly. So skip to there, and otherwise I will do a session recap now, give you another chance to skip and give you that timestamp again, or afterwards, I will talk a little bit like I do in my Imgur galleries, in case you're not aware. In the descriptions, I post links to most of the minis, the battle maps, and within I usually provide some context of my encounter design and how I thought it went. So I'll do that as well, after giving anyone else a chance to skip ahead. But seeing as how we lost about an hour of the D&D session, I figure I've only wasted about 7 minutes, so I have another 53 minutes if I want to. Just kidding. I hope to not be that long. The previous session, the party kind of relied upon what seemed to be little more than a local myth, Naratai, a recluse, a hermit of sorts, which then they ended up discovering was a creature unlike the race of which any of them had ever seen. Naratai originally promised to guide them if they tackled a problem which he could not, if it was going to corrupt him. They managed to fight a being that was seemingly a twisted form of the same species as Naratai was. Setting up the dome under Maslin's direction and taking a short rest, they all observed as Naratai kind of kneeled over the fallen corpse, and they asked gently what this creature was to them, and Naratai revealed that it was his mate. Lost many seasons ago to this corruption, and it became increasingly evident to them at that moment that there is good reason why he couldn't fight this corruption, because it quite possibly would have fallen to the same fate as his mate. He promised to take them not only where they want to go, but along the path on which they belong. And as they progressed through the woods, the last session kind of tail-ended with Drusk and everyone else kind of coming upon this opening and hearing thudding footsteps in the distance and the creaking of trees. As it appears, a conversation started to occur in Druidic as the wind and motion shifted. There was a quiet in the woods, but it was a conversation at first between Naratai and whatever entities might be moving around, and then Drusk picked up on this conversation, and then the rest of the party started to see what could only be described as large, looming, active, living trees, guardians, perhaps, that sought out help in a larger conflict. They, kind of like Naratai did, solicited the assistance of the group, recognizing that their presence in this divide, the Qatar divide, was not one of malice intent, but rather one of just trying to get through. Upon recognizing this, the creatures approached them with the ask, and with the promise that in turn they would see them safely on their journey as much as they could, to be guardians, while Naratai being their shepherd. Drusk had this lengthy conversation in Druidic as the whole party felt surface level emotions in the wind breeze cool and shift. until it was agreed upon that they would assist them in whatever this effort might be. And as they all progressed onward, kind of glancing back at these large tree ants, that is where the last session had tail-ended, we picked up with the party progressing onward. I gave them all a chance to swap equipment and prepare spells and do anything else, which is something I always recommend that any DM do when it makes sense that you know a conflict is coming up. They followed Naratai, but there wasn't really much guiding needed, as it seemed they were already set on this path that almost opened up into this scarred landscape of sorts. As they journeyed into this scarred landscape, they could see craters. Pardon me. They could see craters and depressions in the terrain that had overgrown and become lush with life again over time. These were old marks upon the landscape. Just as well, they could see what only appeared to be something akin to what they had noticed when the journey all started back in the Bella Range. Shields, swords, rusted, embedded in the terrain, similar to those they found in the Western Grove, the Azure Grove. There was a memory here, a battle long fought past, and although it didn't strike to Gardak or any other citizens of the Empire, children of the Empire, if you can call them that, that there used to be a town here, they did indeed see what can only be described as the very base foundations of buildings, hints at where the outline of a structure might once have been, amongst all of the blasted landscape and the left behind relics. They began to hear in the distance almost distant explosions. This, at first, made Rox and Drusk a little pensive, for reasons that I cannot reveal to you, the reader, or the viewer. Reader? Anyway, to you, the viewer. They were curious if this was similar to explosions they had heard before. My answer was not necessarily the same, but, I mean, an explosion in the distance, echoing and shattering itself through the trees, is an explosion in the distance. It's not entirely certain whatever it might be. As the wizards, I believe, if I recall correctly, activated their Cloaks of Nature of Ward, basically gives them bark skin, a little bit of extra AC. Everyone else kind of steeling themselves, they all progressed forward until they happened upon the site of what can only be described as another one of these guardians of the forest, a tall tree looming. This one, however, limping, wounded, scarred in places, damaged. It is at this time that the explosions got ever so closer, until eventually drawing in, and they could see that this tree ant was not the source of it, and instead, as they heard thudding footsteps approaching from behind, the tree that stood in front of them, the creature that stood in front of them, was all of a sudden blasted asunder, and left in its area was nothing more than a crater and the shattering and splintering of wood. As it appeared, another tree ant swinging around a grouping of trees, this one embedded with metal running through all of its core, through its bark. They could see bits of it jutting in and out, and upon the right arm, where normally another appendage would be amongst its many others, it almost looked like this one had a 3-barreled cannon attached to it. They all rolled initiative. A battle was had. Drusk spawned in some brown or black bears, I can't really quite recall. He spawned in some bears. At one point, the tree reached down into the ground and ended up animating other trees nearby, one which seemed a little more laden with spores and this almost mire, I'll sure also just say mire, coming off of it. It managed to approach and rush Maslin until Maslin ended up retreating, and in order to not be hit, had to cast shield as a reaction, gaining distance. Drusk sliding in, trying to protect Maslin, who certainly would have been crushed by a singular tree, as Drusk kind of took on the front of this creature. During the confrontation that kind of took place over there between the three of them, or the two of them, and this spores tree that was leaking this almost mire of area, Drusk accidentally took in a breath, failed a saving throw, and became stunned in front of this tree. Meanwhile, the one with the cannon was being harried by some brown bears. Ended up recognizing that Draku, taking cover behind a rock in the back, had not only hexed it, but was also doing a considerable amount of damage, and ignoring the brown bears, who really weren't doing too much to it, decided to level its cannon at Draku, and although he was behind full cover, failed his dexterity saving throw, and the entire rock and area was blasted away, leaving just in his wake, and Draku obviously taking a substantial hit, leaving just in the wake a crater mass where all the cover had been blown away. Meanwhile, I believe Rox and Gardak had begun to rush until a second tree that had entered from the opposite side moved forward and grasped this one. This tree seemed more laden with vines and appendages and these long-reaching growths, and it was able to control the terrain around it. This one grabbed Rox, almost restraining her at a distance, and then eventually closing the gap and beginning to wail on her as Gardak, Rox, and Naratai all sauntered in around. Meanwhile, Zestrin and Draku and Maslin all from the back slinging spells. That is more or less where the combat was at when I just randomly lost power. So, if you want to see where all that goes, I'm going to jump into what, and I haven't even written the gallery yet, so it's just going to be more of this unscripted crap. If you want to hear it, you're welcome to stay. If not, you can skip to this time here, and you will see the session play out. I'm going to talk about my encounter design for that encounter, and then another encounter design for a secondary encounter that they had. I always feel like this stuff is important to talk about as a DM, but I understand that it can be incredibly boring to some. So, feel free to skip to that time, and if not, welcome. Encounter design for the Treant with Cannon fight, who managed to animate 2 other Treants. I basically, my frustration or my challenge as a DM currently is that and this will be very evident. I think I'll probably touchstone on this again when I get to the second encounter. There are a lot of things, a lot of creatures, a lot of moments that I want to hit in D&D, especially creatures and cool things that are unfortunately either at the point where, especially with this, how many players that I have, given that I have 6 players, are already in need of being buffed, or need something ancillary to them that makes them tougher, rather than just stacking on hundreds of HP, which is an option, but only drags out the combat. I would prefer, I'm trying, I should say, to find other ways to make things interesting. Just as well, I wanted to show again that this Qatar Divide, this valley strewn in pain and war, has within it many vestiges from battles long past. Maybe not even necessarily of the war that was specifically known, the War of Broken Souls. So this Treant with a cannon was actually, behind the scenes, something that I had initially thought of, ran by one of my other friends who I enjoy very much, and he's a bit of a DM, or he is a DM, I don't know why I said a bit, and he had given me the idea of metal kind of laid in where trees are, or are growing, and then as these creatures progress into Treants, as Treants come into being, they are corrupted by this, and by that made and used as weapons of war. And that's been a part of my world lore, and that's kind of my whole conversation was with him about the nation off in the distance that's reputed for its weapons of war. The encounter design was fairly simple, though. There was a number of tree-like entities or Treants out there in all of the various content for 5e that I have available to me, and rather than just having it animate regular trees, I was like, well, let's spice things up. I'll make this one that animated tree and that one the other animated tree. Give a little bit of dynamicacy. Give my players a little something to question. I was like, oh, what's this one's specialty? But other than that, it was just a simple way to... The overall encounter design was more of one of a story element. As I had maybe hinted at before, the Treant with a cannon, this will probably not be the last time they will ever see one. This history, and they didn't roll high enough, so I can't really spoil anything because I know my players are going to be watching. But that's not a closed-in scenario. Not only is that creature too cool to never not use again, but I have not yet run a combat encounter for the sake and fuck of it. I have done so recently with some of the regular monsters that they fight, like the second encounter that's later on in this session. I just wanted to use Displacer Beasts because I thought they were cool, and I will talk about that in a bit because I have a lot of regrets and a lot of problems. But these are, like the Hobgoblin Captain and his twin, like the creature that had impossibly returned from death with the warped hobgoblin forms, like the agents in the Luminous Levant. None of this is being run. I'm not running these creatures, or Alfdrax, the Damaged Beholder. They all have their reasons for being where they are, and for my party to be encountering them. And hopefully, if I play my cards right and I do it right, later on in the campaign, they'll start to put together of like, oh shit, this is how it's all put together. At least I'd like to think so. Maybe I'll fall flat. Maybe I won't achieve that. Encounter design was primarily, other than having really cool creatures, I did want to play with the idea of having a creature, which is the Treant with a cannon, that can create difficult terrain out of nowhere, and not because of a magical spell or anything like that. So the ability, I also wanted the ability to target my ranged players, because I know Draku is very fond of taking cover and lobbing Eldritch Blasts, or taking cover and throwing Eldritch or Shadow Blades. I wanted to challenge my longer range players as well as give them the realization that even if you're in full cover, you may not be safe from some of the creatures that I'll end up running, because although he wasn't, basically the nuances that I had put into that creature was, it has an X to hit, but if something's behind total cover, it is instead a X DC saving throw, dexterity saving throw, to take half damage as per the cover, and then be displaced a number of feet equal to their choice. That never happened. He failed his dex save, and then, the Treant with the cannon only got like 2 more shots off, because the world sucks, and I can never keep my creatures alive long enough. I could probably keep them alive as long as I wanted to if I just kept adding HP, but like I said, that's lame. So rather than run Displacer Beast with 500 HP, I'm trying to find ways to make encounters more interesting. So the lesson that I learned from the previous session was that don't ever try to run a map where all of your terrain is difficult terrain and then not hold your players to it, and then try to do it halfway through. That was a mess, and the more that I talk about behind-the-scenes DM stuff, the more upset that it makes me, because I talk about every encounter like it's a mess and like I didn't enjoy it. It's not the truth. But I will say that I think I'm a lot happier with localized, and especially like being able to mark it off on the combat map with a crater, difficult terrain. It's a little easier for me to manage. It's when I forget for one player's turn, I don't feel bad for disenfranchising them for another player's turn, which is why when that combat broke out the session before last, I threw that shit out the window after like round 2. I was like, no, I give up, because I had already at that point been inconsistent, and I didn't want to disenfranchise my players too much. The second encounter was from a story-based perspective. I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to talk about it. I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to give any specifics. So if you want to go watch that combat encounter and then come back, have fun. Otherwise, you're just going to like learn like surface level mechanics. So I'm not going to talk about it forever. They wandered through the woods until they had come to a place that almost seemed alluring. It seemed tempting for them to just stay. The element of this specific night was each of them falling in and out of sleep, except for Maslin, who is an elf and is not susceptible to sleeping magics. As they all kind of progressed through, they learned, this is more about the story than it is the encounter, more about the world, that certain places, according to Naratai, within the Qatar Divide are connected more strongly to one element or another. The place that Naratai had asked them to take care of the challenge that he could not was more connected to pain and perversion. The place that they wander through now, which seemed to put them to sleep, I basically just had them roll a charisma saving throw for their overall experience for a given bit of travel, to see how often they kind of like caught themselves almost falling asleep like they're in a chair and they're not supposed to. The actual mechanics of which I'll get into in a sec, and I have many regrets about it. But it was described as a crossover between a couple roles and a discussion with Naratai. That part of the world was closer connected to the Feywild, which is something in terms of like, I guess here's a spoiler about Bali Rasoa. The DMG talks about traversal between the planes, standard things being like, go find a plane or cast plane shift, or go find a portal or go cast plane shift or something of that nature, and those are all acceptable answers in Bali Rasoa, but I also enjoy the one idea that the DMG throws out, other than like the winding staircase, which is where you can physically walk up and down the planes and open doors on different planes of existence. It's just the idea that, like, if you wander into a dark enough place full of, dread and undeath, unease, and if you wander somewhere that is truly dark enough, you may accidentally, and without really knowing it, end up walking straight into the Shadowfell. If you sail too far down the ocean, you may end up on the plane of water unknowingly. If you fly too high, you may end up in the plane of air. If you go too deep beyond the Underdark, you may end up in the plane of Earth. Further than that, maybe you'll end up in Hell. So, like, going to a place that's of extreme nature connection is an easy way to find yourself almost in this border area where you could potentially, if you're not careful, cross over into the Feywild. So that's one of the methods of planar travel that I wanted to hint at to my players. I find it interesting. I still hold, I have different places in Bel Irasoa that have planar portals, and people, NPCs will be casting plane shift later in the campaign, I'm sure. But I've enjoyed that element of planar traversal because it gives it kind of that risk of like a dungeon too deep and you end up in the Shadowfell. Congratulations. So the way that combat encounter was essentially is that I wanted to run Displacer Beasts. I learned a couple lessons. I wanted to toy with the idea of making the Displacer Beasts, which would be pushovers to my standard party, absolute pushovers. I wanted to make them more dangerous without really buffing their damage, which I had done because of what I'm about to talk about, or buffing their HP to an insane amount. I wanted to run pretty much bog standard Displacer Beasts, but make the environment in which they hunt and are found in the danger that they pose. So, although I had them roll for an overall experience for the purposes of combat when they were finally ambushed before they could get the dome up, I, at the beginning of at the top of the initiative order, had them roll a charisma saving throw to see whether or not they were going to be conscious for the round. Falling asleep wasn't going to make them fall prone. It was more of just like a standing there, lulling yourself, kind of sleeping. As I described, like kind of you recognize a couple seconds later, you've like, oh, I've fallen asleep in my chair. Like I need to go lay down. The DC for this save was probably too high. Just as well, and I knew that Maslin wasn't going to be affected because he's an elf. Just as well, I don't know if I'll try something that ambitious again. Maybe I'll do something where they only have an action, not a bonus action or a reaction or something like that. Because taking away a player's entire turn, I regretted very easily and very quickly at the start of the combat because I felt like I was taking away my player's agency and their ability to feel like they were doing anything. I mention him, and he's very gracious about it, or at least he has been whenever I talk to him about it, but Drusk didn't even get a turn the whole combat. Like, that really sucked. And not at all what I intended or wanted to do. So having the DC as high as it was, and then having it rob a player of their entire turn, was a mistake on my part. It certainly made the Displacer Beasts harder. Just as well, since they're right here, one of the other things that I very easily could have done as a DM without even telling my players was I decided, for whatever reason, that all of the Displacer Beasts were going to be going on the same initiative order, which led to many of them getting a chance to attack the players that were unconscious and not having an opportunity for those players to get any, because the Displacer Beasts were at the end of the combat round, and at the very start of the next one was the Charisma saving throw. So these Displacer Beasts would attack unconscious players, and then the Charisma saving throw would come back up, and maybe they'd be unconscious again. And my way of working through it was their first strike would be at advantage because you're unconscious, but then, kind of like the spell Sleep, if you were hit, you would become awake. Them being at the end of initiative order was completely useless because, player's awake, second strike, okay, the Displacer Beast hits or misses, whatever. Charisma saving throw, oh, you fell asleep again, nice job. It would have been far neater and better, in my opinion, if I had the Displacer Beasts go on separate initiatives, especially because some of them probably would have been higher in the initiative order, and I could have looked at the initiative order and said to myself, oh, Maslin fell asleep, let me go hit him. you know, and then he'll be awake for his turn and he'll have taken damage. Which, you know, I don't know. That would have at least been a better way to make sure that my players would get an opportunity. Because I'm kind of like when my players take the dodge action, I'm going to go up and try to go hit them, because I don't want them to feel like they've wasted their whole action doing the dodge action, so my creature would have disadvantage. So like if a player ever takes the dodge action and it makes sense for a creature to do so, I'm going over and trying to hit that player, even though I know it's not the optimal play. Just like a Displacer Beast, like if I had seen that one of my players had fallen unconscious, I would have had it go over and hit that player. I also learned 2 lessons from both of these encounters. The first one being from the first encounter is, and I'll probably get better at this, especially because I was playing a race and class mixture that I've never played before, and it was also a multi-classed build. Naratai was running your own character, running an NPC in assistance to the party, really messed with me, because it's just another stat block and everything else that I have to pay attention to, and I have to pay attention to Naratai's spell slots, and I didn't enjoy it. I didn't want Naratai to be completely useless, which is the reason why he was there in the first place, doing anything with them. And I didn't want him to just like meld back into a tree, because now it would make sense for him to participate in these combats. But boy, oh boy, I should have just like made him a fighter or something, because trying to manage a spellcaster and the multi-class that he was, and trying to make sure that I wasn't doing something suboptimal. Anyway, running Naratai, running an NPC in concordance with the party in terms of combat was another layer of complexity I didn't really need. And then second, I just learned that I don't really like Displacer Beasts. I don't really like them a whole lot, and that's probably a kind of controversial statement if you at all run D&D and you love Displacer Beast yourself. But like the magical illusion that makes you have disadvantage, I mean, that's not bad, that's not terrible. I'm not a fan of that. It's hard for me to keep track of, number one, and number two, I don't understand. I guess I don't. I should have just changed the stat block, because I don't understand why it does bludgeoning and piercing damage. It should just do one of both and just have it do anyway. So I learned that I don't like running NPCs alongside my party if I can help it, which Naratai was an exception, and I'm never going to not run an NPC because I don't want to run them. I will only run it because it would make sense for them to be there. I won't include an NPC where they don't belong, but I also won't shy away from having an NPC be a part of the party dynamic if needs be. And yeah, I learned I don't like Displacer Beasts. Or maybe I just really messed up the encounter with the Charisma saving throw business, and I thought it was a cool mechanic that I will definitely be revisiting throughout the campaign in other forms. But I don't think I'll be robbing my players of their entire turn like that again. I have never played through an encounter like that, which is probably why I look back and I say, boy, Aiden, that was a real shitty encounter design. Because if I had played through such an encounter, I probably wouldn't be too happy with my experience. But I can only speak from having run it and then looking back on it. And yeah, as I've talked about before, and as you've seen in the Imgur galleries if you've ever looked at them, I learn a lesson pretty much every time I run. And I don't want to make it sound like I'm not having fun, because I am having fun. My players are supposedly, unless they're lying to me, they say they're having fun. So I just want to continually learn lessons and be able to share them with you all. Because while my kerfluffle with the charisma saving throws and taking away my players' entire turns was something I hope I dare not repeat, it is something that I'll be revisiting in one way or another to help kind of make combat more interesting than just standing around on a grid hitting each other. It's why I do the terrain, and it's why I do elevation, and it's why I do everything that I do. It's why I haven't resorted to just, theater of mind, is because I want my players to have an opportunity to strategize, and want them to have an opportunity to gain advantage from flair, I guess. Which is kind of hard to do in the theater of mind, or at least in my experience. So, I really think that's about it. No one could be more disappointed than me. I think that session 14 had a recording issue. Hopefully this is covered under the uninterruptible power supply now. we're going to continue to have technical issues, and I swear to gosh, if it happens on the next 7 episode, if it happens on episode or session 21, I'm going to be cursing the 7 gods. But I can only do so much. It all started when I decided to record my Zach's D&D game for posterity's sake, so that we could look back on it, and I decided to do it here. I want to thank you, whoever is watching this up until this point, because I like I said, I looked at the analytics. There are unique viewers. Many of them watch the full session. I see the countries you're from. I see the relative age groups you guys are. I see the relative genders you guys are, as far as YouTube seems to understand. And I see where you come from, whether you check my channel directly or you're linked from somewhere like my Imgur gallery or maybe my Twitter. I don't know where you're finding me from all the time, but the analytics give me pretty good hints. And while I won't be, I guess, sharing any of the nuances, there are people who come back each time and follow along. And while you're not in the comments, and that's okay, you're allowed to lurk. Thank you for tuning in, because I post it for me, but I'll be very glad if anyone spends any amount of time on it. So I hope maybe to not be having these kind of conversations with you often in the future, because it means something's gone awry. I might look into doing some sort of retrospective business, sort of like the encounter design stuff. I'm not sure if that would be interesting at all to anyone who watches our sessions. I may, because it has always been set up through the tools that I use. All I need to do to start streaming is press a button that says start streaming. That being said, it comes with a whole nother layer of concerns, bandwidth, everything else. So I would like to find a more core audience for this, if that's something that can even be found. I'm not really in it for viewership, but I am glad for anyone who sticks around and decides to watch. Like, that's the idea that someone thinks something that I'm doing is neat and worth their time is very nice to hear from or to see in the analytics and the viewership. I'm happy if 3 people view it. I'm happy if 1 person views it. But we're getting more than 1 person and more than 3 people often, and for most of the unique viewers for the entire session, which means I am somehow responsible for every time I run a session, not only my friends, but also about 100 hours worth of other people's entertainment, which, thanks. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the rest of what I could capture of the session. And, yeah, I mean, take care of yourself. I'll be trying to do the same. I will continue to strive to make this a better experience, chiefly and first and foremost for my players, which I still think we had an overall great session, but then secondarily for the purposes of you guys, the viewers, and the recording. And yeah, I'm sorry the one-man show has issues. It's a constant improvement process. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of the session. That was tons of fun losing power in the middle of combat, but we're back. So, I think the last thing I heard, Rox, was that a 26 or some such hit. Roll your damage. I believe that was your first attack as well, unless I'm mistaken.
You're muted.
It was my first, and it was 12 damage.
Okay. Give me 1 sec to get this situated. I probably shouldn't have called on you until I was certainly ready.
That's okay.
Yeah, where's the music at?
It's right here. What are you talking about? You hear it?
You thought?
You were attacking the one that you're on. What was the damage? Sorry.
12.
Okay. Yep. You can see as you strike out. Second attack, I imagine?
Yes.
There's not much left to it.
19.
That hits.
9.
Okay. It is not looking good. It is close to not being good at all. However, that ends your go, unless you wanted to move.
Nope.
Okay. Wow, my whole focus has just been destroyed. So we are done with your turn,
I'm sorry.
Drusk and Gardak.
Can I scoot over around him?
Sure. I'm gonna imagine you want to flank with Gardak.
Yep, just why not? You know.
Sure. As you're kind of closing in, circling for the kill, you can see these flames just wreathing up its form. This thing is well and properly fucked. Drusk, Gardak, you guys together.
All right. Start slashing.
Go for it.
Okay. First one is 24.
24 hits.
You have advantage.
Ah,
Yeah, you are flanking. You would have advantage. So
Okay.
you crit.
I do not. So that was 6 points of damage for the first one.
6 points.
and
As you strike
then-
out, you can see what little is left of its form begins to falter as it essentially turns into a pile of firewood.
Okay.
As it literally had nothing left. So, I don't remember what the status ring was for. It was somebody's spell.
Hex.
Oh yeah. Your hex is gone for the moment.
Cool.
Or you may place it on something else, I should say. Gardak, you still have movement and one more attack. What, if anything, would you like to do?
I guess I'll switch to my crossbow and take an attack at the big one.
Sure. Kind of quickly swapping your equipment, coming around for a shot on the big one. I don't need this stat block anymore because it fucking burned to death.
That's only a 10, so never mind.
Yeah, unfortunately, as you kind of quickly swapping away and pulling out your crossbow, currently loaded as it is, you let one off. It's currently contending with the two bears and just swaying wildly. Your shot, unfortunately, going a bit wide. Drusk, you are stunned, I believe.
The bears are going in.
Okay. You may make a DC Constitution saving throw.
Yep. Sorry, I'll roll for the bears first because I saved
Sure.
at the end of my turn. don't I?
Sure.
First bear. No. 11 on the bite.
Unfortunately.
14 on the claw.
Unfortunately, neither of those land.
Second bear. Unbearable. 23 on the bite. 12 on the claw.
I really want to tell you they all miss, but the first one hit. Don't make any bear puns.
10 piercing damage. And
You mean
then
embarrassing
one
damage?
Save, 13.
Well, I regret to inform you, as your bear strikes out, it doesn't really seem to do any damage, as currently the DM has added some HP. No, I'm kidding. As your bear kind of strikes out. Sorry, what was your Constitution saving throw?
13.
13, unfortunately. As you're still kind of catatonic. You're just listening to all the sounds and this gout of flame that's just flown by you, but this creature's still giving off these petrifying aura of spores that you have accidentally breathed in. But your bears did damage, so that's good. That ends your go.
Yep.
And brings us to the fucking one with a cannon, who is not going to waste his attacks on two bears.
He's gonna blow away a lizard.
Wait, even blow me away.
No, he's going to blow away Zestrin because he keeps shooting fire. Zestrin, as you are, I will consider you... Actually, I'll consider you in half cover because those are just logs. Whereas Draku is fully tucked behind some rocks. This is the one with the cannon. Sorry, wrong stat block. Zestrin, I'm imagining even with a... whatever the addition to your AC is, a 24 is going to hit you.
Yeah, that's gonna hit. 24 definitely hits.
As you take... As it wouldn't be a dex save.
Shield would bring you to 23.
A what?
Shield would have brought you to 23. It still would have hit, but like you could have gotten close.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
This one I rolled good on. 34 points of bludgeoning damage.
34?
34.
You're dead.
I'm dead.
Oof.
You're unconscious.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Big difference.
I got, like, straight up slapped. Is there really a crater where I got slapped?
Quite
It
so.
looks familiar to me.
It's either that or it's a butthole, whatever you want it to
Really
be.
familiar. Oh my god.
Okay, great. We're gonna liken my craters to buttholes. make this thing do more damage in a minute. The
Well.
other one is dead, so it can't fucking do anything. And the one next to Drusk, yeah, Drusk, you're stunned, and it's standing right there. It's gonna take 2 slam attacks against you at
Advantage.
at
baby.
advantage. The first one is a 19 to hit,
19 is my AC.
and the second, oh my god, dude, this natural 20's cocked. I would have taken it though. 24 to hit.
Yeah,
As you take
I don't have shield.
from first slam. Oh boy, you are a lucky man. 8. 16 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
From the second slam. 12, 13. Oh my god, I hate math. 19 points of bludgeoning damage. I need Constitution saving throws for your animals.
Yep. First one was a non-natural 20. Second one is going to be it's over 10. It's a 13.
Good on you. So you
Well,
maintain the animals. That ends their go.
I'm almost not.
Brings us back up at the top. Zessarin, as you are unconscious, I need a death saving throw.
Fuck. What does that do?
Just roll the d20.
Yeah. 18.
That is a success.
A
Draku,
1.
as this cannon basically just blasts away almost all of the cover that's around you, you see, as you kind of glance over the corner of this crater, you can see Zessarin having fallen unconscious within. What are you doing? You still have your hex, I believe. If you'd like to place it on
Yeah.
something.
I know. Let me think. I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do now. I need to. All right. Yeah. I'll move the. How far is that enemy away? He's not too far.
Depends on which one you're talking about.
The big one.
It's like just at 90. It's not really gonna matter. You can move any way you want. If you're trying to place the hex on him anyway.
Is there any way I can get in those logs so that I'm protected both directions from the 2 enemies? Like that little crevice.
You wouldn't be in. You would be only in quarter cover from both of them, but you can certainly make your way there if you'd like. It's not full
Yeah.
cover like that rock that was blasted away in front of you.
I know. All right, I'll move Hex to the main guy, and then I'm gonna.
Oh wait, Narutai took damage. I need to roll for his hunter's mark. Ah,
And I'll hit him with a great bonfire.
okay, go for it.
Dex 15.
Oh fuck. 11. I fucking hate this. Trees roll deck saves. Don't forget your hex damage.
Yeah, no, I got it. So that's 4 fire and 3 Hex.
Got it. As you're kind of sliding into this area of logs in front of you, looking for new cover after it's been blasted away, you just kind of raise your hand up and you can see this fire kind of licking away at its legs. Pardon me. That end your go?
Yeah, sorry, what's that actually? Yeah, I'm done.
Maslin with Narutai on deck.
I'm gonna cast web upon the one next to Drusk.
Okay, what is the nature of that spell?
Oh, actually, let me figure out if it's in range. Am I higher than 60 feet?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Then I'm gonna spread it, basically starting at where it stands and then away from Drusk, because I want Drusk to get caught in it.
10-foot
And,
radius? 5 foot?
It's a 20-foot cube that I can lay down.
Generally encompasses that rough area. Not that
Yeah.
I think it's...
And I need a dex saving throw on the start of his turn, or else he's restrained.
I will make it now, but we will keep in mind that the restraint doesn't take place until later. What is your DC?
15.
It has rolled a 14. It is going to be restrained at the start of its turn. That ends your go, I trust.
I'm also gonna shout out No more fire on that one. And that'll be basically it.
I'm not sure why Rox's mini was knocked over, but that's okay. I'm pretty sure that's where you were.
I take a nap here.
Okay, that ends your go. Brings us to Naratai, who... Let's see what he can do. Yeah. Well, let's see if he can do it. I can flare my own stuff, right? Advantage from flare, right? Okay, yeah. You watch as Naratai begins almost leaping and bounding behind him after the cannon has gone off. As he normally would not be able to make it, but as he gets to the crater's edge, you can see as he kind of throws down, kind of similar to how he raised these stumps for all of you to sit on. He instead throws his hand down, and out of his hand, or out of his arm, seems to extend a little bit of wood almost, kind of pole vaulting him into the crater. And as he lands just there, he places his hand on Zesserin's knee, casting Cure Wounds at, say, 2nd level. Zesserin, oh boy, damn, he rolled well. 18 points of healing to you. As you are now conscious, but prone, in the middle of a crater. As you kind of come to and just open your eyes a little bit, you can just see the silvery eyes of Naratai. And this slight smile, maybe. But that is his 2nd level slots.
18 points of damage? Or 18
healing. Yes, damage,
Healing.
no healing.
Okay.
That would be rough.
Would be a
Man,
lot
that would be a
rougher.
turncoat moment. That is Naratai's turn, though. And brings us to Rox, Drusk, and Gardak on deck.
I would like to get to the big tree man.
Sure, you make your way, big tree man.
Am I allowed to flank with a bear?
Boy, I wish I could.
It is difficult terrain. You have 50 feet of movement?
I have 40.
50.
Well,
The
with the
boots.
boots, but I already used them.
No, the boot lasts for a minute.
Ah, okay, with the boots I have 50.
You do not have enough movement because it's difficult terrain.
Okay.
Unless you
Got
want to
it.
flare something.
Can I slide through its legs?
Make an acrobatics check.
That's just a straight roll, right?
Mhm.
If I'm not mistaken. Oh no. 9.
Kind of formulating a plan to get up and almost give these bears a bit of a moment as you go begin to sprint and you're ready almost to slide in and through. And as you begin to make your slide, you can see the creature responding just in kind, and you back out. You realize not a good idea, as it would.
Not yet.
You're
Okay.
afraid it would have stepped on you.
Bummer. Okay.
Good
well,
try, though.
Either way, I would like to whack the boy, and I'm going to do reckless since I can't flank. But, 21.
21 will hit.
I'm rolling damage like shit.
Killed by
today.
bears and fucking rocks. Typical.
10 on the damage.
Got it. Second attack.
Another whack.
Go for it.
18.
That's cocked.
Oh, is it?
That's really cocked.
I couldn't tell. Okay, that's better. 24.
24 hits.
That's another 10.
Okay.
I
As
do
you're kind
12,
of-
so like
As you're laying into its form, you can see not very happy with its current situation. It is not looking well.
Okay.
That ends your go, though, I trust. Drusk and Gardak. Drusk, I imagine you'll need a con save.
Gardak, you can go.
All right. I guess I'll. Yeah, I'll switch back to my sword and shield, and then can I get within 5 feet of rocks, and also be able to make an attack?
30, unfortunately, get you 5 feet behind rocks. We'll get you there. If that's what you wanted to do.
Okay. Then that's fine.
Okay. Sure you don't want to use... What is the range on your Territe augment? Maybe it's 10 feet. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's 20 feet actually. So
Could use it if you wanted to. That's up to you.
I'll give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. Big 10, so never mind.
10, unfortunately. As you're kind of readying the shield and you bring it around a bear, you can see these beams of light almost begin to shoot out of it. These almost needle-like.
Bring it to bear.
Shh, okay.
Oh?
I'm resisting the temptation. Sorry, you miss. I'm just not even gonna flare it anymore. Thanks, you broke me.
Okay.
I don't
Drusk.
want barrel. Oh, I'm sorry.
Drusk, I am about to add HP. Please take your turn.
Okay, four bear attacks.
Yeah.
First 2 miss. Natural 20 on the bite.
Hey,
24 on the claw for the second bear.
that hits. Makes up for the missed bite from the other bear.
Nope. 8 on the bite.
Oh,
Piercing if it matters. And 12 slashing on the claw.
whew. Okay. As you see these
My
two.
con save is sub 10, so.
Okay, yeah. As you see these two bears continue to lay in rocks, you're just now amongst, at this point, fairly comfortable scenario. Whereas Drusk has conjured some animals. You're used to him wild shaping and things. However, that ends your go, Drusk. Gardak, you already went, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings us to the creatures. The one who's next to Drusk has no reason not to go for another 2 slam attacks. As you are still stunned, it is at advantage. As a 14 plus, oh boy. It's a 19 to hit.
Yep.
Oh.
Second attack is a 19 plus things.
Yep.
As you take on the first slam, I am really fucking sorry. 21 points of bludgeoning damage.
Unconscious, I fail 2 death saves.
Wait, hold on. The one attacking Drusk?
Yeah.
Yep.
It needed to. I thought it was restrained, or it needed to roll to be restrained.
Good on you. It is restrained. Those would have been
And-
straight rolls. Let's do it over, shall we?
All right, let's do it over because I thought we were talking about the big guy because
Nope.
I've got
Might be.
things I might want to interject.
My bad. Good call. Completely fucking forgot. Let's do it over, shall we? Not at advantage. So
Alright,
this
what's
one,
it doing?
2 slam attacks against Drusk.
Okay.
At this point, it would be a straight roll because Drusk is stunned and it is restrained. The first one is a
Alright,
13 to hit, so
Nope.
doesn't hit. Second one is an 18 to hit.
Also misses.
Okay, that ends its turn, as it is currently restrained. Is there a way that it gets out of the webbing?
Well, it has to roll on the beginning. Oh, it can use an action to make a strength check.
Oh, well, it didn't do that.
No, it didn't.
Okay. Yeah, that's its turn. I'll say.
Oh, dang, that sucks. Okay.
What?
Oh, just that it's not a dex saving throw the whole time, that it reverts to strength after that. I didn't know that.
Well,
okay.
anyway, you potentially say, well, we undid the almost near ending of Drusk's life. So that ends that one's go. Which one does it want to shoot at? I don't know. You all have fucking problems right now. Yeah, it realizes it's fucked. So, Drusk, it is going to take a shot at you. As you are stunned and it's a range attack, I do still believe it's at advantage.
All attack rolls have advantage.
It's like a 24.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure this is going to be enough to knock you out, but we'll do
Oh,
some
yeah.
math. Where's my other D10? Stop this. $25 points of bludgeoning damage.
I'm out. The bears are gone.
Okay. As you can see, no longer concentrating. As you can see, it surrounded and harried, in a sense, realizing its own fate has come. Well, now things are looking a little bit up for it, but it's pretty fucked anyway. Decides to help its only animated ally. That ends its go. Zessarin, Draku, Maslin on deck. Or Zessarin, Draku, and then Maslin.
So I'm gonna stand up first,
Sure.
Good call.
and I am going to do a level 3 fireball at the big guy.
Okay. I'm imagining you're gonna sculpt the spell.
Yeah, I'm gonna sculpt it.
Sure.
So I don't hit nobody, but
It's a dexterity
Okay.
saving throw.
yep, dexterity saving throw. That'll be better than a 16.
It rolls a 9.
All right, so it's gonna take full damage. I'll just do it on here.
Sure will.
That's 33 points of fire damage.
Okay. Well, that's good, because I need you to flare your finish.
Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, it's just cast it at him with all my fucking might and burn him down. Like
Extra
Burning
big.
Man.
Extra.
Yeah, Lady Burning.
There you go, Burning Man.
Yeah,
That's the way to
Lady
play it.
Burning
Oh,
Man.
boy.
I like it.
So, as you kind of gather together some sulfur, slap it between your hands, you can see Naratai kind of get out of the way. Draco, you look over, and he just throws this small bead of light, and then twists his hand just so as the bead of light hits, and this massive fireball erupts. Rox, Gardak, you guys feel the heat, but it's almost like there's a barrier around you that protects you. And by the time that you're done blinking and kind of clearing your eyes from the flash of light, this form, the bits of metal falling out of the now burning wood, reduced to little more than campfire. So, that ends your go, unless you wanted to get out of the crater.
Nah, I'm good right there.
Okay. Cross him off initiative. Draku, Maslin on deck. Draku, you have your hex back.
Yep. I'm gonna move it to the next creature, the one left, and then I think I'm just gonna do Eldritch Blast this time.
Sure, go for it.
All right, 24 to hit, and 14 to hit.
Huh. 24 and a 14. The 24 does hit. However, I will say, as you're kind of reaching out with these two Eldritch Blasts, you can watch this tree just slowly almost seize up. It no longer appears to be animated in this form. But you do damage to a tree if that's what you'd like to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Roll your damage for your 24 into hex. 'Cause I'll mark it down. Why not?
Uh, 13.
Okay. As you kind of let out this Eldritch Blast and you see it strike. Your previous shots, there was reactions. This tree no longer seems to move, and you can watch almost where its feet once were. Kind of comes back into a singular trunk, and these vines kind of embedding themselves into the ground. I'll say for the purposes of this, unless you guys want to lay into a now harmless tree.
Oh fuck yeah, burn it down.
I mean,
you are-
attack and burn
You
it.
are free to do that. I will keep us in initiative order if you want to continue to burn this tree. But for the purposes of this, combat is over.
Can I run over and give Druska a healing potion, please?
You may. Actually, yeah, I'll keep us in initiative order for that. Sorry. I forgot there was a man on the ground. That ends your go, Draku?
Yeah.
Maslin, you're up.
Well, having noticed, I think that the tree's not responding, I'm gonna move up closer and just ready a chromatic orb level 2. Because things do seem fishy, but I don't think I would obviously know
Sure.
that combat's over.
So you kind of get out the diamond and begin harnessing this light, just kind of holding it for a moment.
right.
So you're going to hold the chromatic orb?
Fire damage specifically.
Go for it. Just in case it does anything hostile?
Yep.
Okay.
Just so you know, Drell, if it doesn't do anything hostile and trigger the spell in the next initiative order, you still expend the spell slot.
I was going to tell him, but yeah.
Oh. Ha 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 ha. Chromatic orb level 1 instead.
Okay. Still
Fire
holding the,
damage still.
holding the light and the diamond, as it were.
Yeah.
That ends your go. Brings us to Naratai, who... Let's see if he even noticed. Nope, Naratai's blind as fuck. But he's gonna clamber out of the crater. I don't know if he has. Yeah, that's Naratai's go. He doesn't see anything hostile anymore. Brings us to Rox.
I'm getting as close as I can to Drusk. Try to get him out. Yep, that's all I got.
50 will get you up to the skeleton of this seemingly fallen creature of some form. Maslin, you're kind of holding this spell and looking over, and you just hear doof, 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 and you see Rox in full sprint. You could dash if you wanted to get to him. That's up to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as I can still give him a potion.
Feeding someone else a potion is an action. So not this
got
round.
it. Yeah. Next round.
Drusk, death saving throw. Gardak, if there's anything you'd like to do. That is one failure. Brings us back up to the top. Maslin, you're pensively holding the spell. Nothing appears to be hostile. So you release it. Or should I say dispel it? I imagine. Just after Zesserin and... I just broke initiative order so hard. Zesserin and Draku, anything you guys want to do?
No.
Okay.
No.
Unless he
Can I-
light him on fire.
Can I give him my greater healing potion?
Who is him? Because you cannot reach Drusk. You're...
How many saves has he failed?
I don't know.
1.
Who?
Okay, apparently one.
Sure, I'll just run up to him and give him my potion.
Okay. 30 will get you there. I'll go ahead and roll your healing. For the purposes of this, we are out of combat, it seems.
Eight.
Thank you.
As you kind of plop this potion in his mouth, you can watch the red liquid pouring, almost receding into this lizard folk's mouth. And then moments later, there's a cough and a sputter as Drusk kind of comes back, seemingly conscious. Drusk, you come back and the spores are just dissipating over your head, and you can see this tree looming extremely large over you, but currently not moving, and most of your friends surrounding you. So we are no longer in combat.
Am I dead?
Not anymore.
Oh, cool. Nice. Thanks.
Zesserin, you kind of clambering out of the crater. All of you kind of gathering. That wasn't fun. But you all have a moment amongst yourselves if there's anything you would like to exchange or discuss.
Hey, Draco, you can take this. Thank you.
And I'll hand him my healing potion.
Okay.
Well,
Maslin would turn to Norakai and say, "Were you expecting creatures of this caliber?"
I was not. But many relics, vestiges are left behind. And for creatures such as that, I suppose the fight never ended. And you can hear in the distance as well several more explosions of a form beginning to die out. It seems that this wasn't a solitary battle. But you get the sense that maybe where this treant failed, others might have succeeded. You're not certain. As you all are kind of gathering around, I would take a moment to heal some of your wounds if I can. As he begins to...
Wait a minute.
As he kind of kneels down here, and he's going to cast Nature's Healing Aura, which is a spell you are familiar with, Drusk.
Yep.
Each of you gains...
God damn.
He has one left. 10 points of healing.
Does that
alrighty.
go up and over or no? Into temporary or no?
No, it
No.
just
Okay.
it just gets you any HP you might be missing.
Got it.
So he has now burned himself of that. So you can see around you not only the trees that you had fought, but various bits of metal entwined with some of the logs here. You can see, now that you get a better chance, having just entered this area, you can see more of the same weaponry rusted and embedded into the dirt and mud around here. And some new smoking craters that are not overgrown.
Maslin's very curious about the cannon on the
Yeah,
arm of the largest one.
I'm headed over to see if it is made of anything we've seen before.
I mean, he just wants to take notes at the very least.
Okay.
Drusk gonna take a nap.
Watch as Druss begins to pull out various small vials, tinctures, bandages of a form. You all, most of you, begin making your way, kind of inspecting the cannon. Naratai is staying near you, Drusk, for the moment. Make an investigation check.
Me?
Whoever's helming it, with, I suppose, either straight or with advantage.
Did you go at advantage, Jarrell?
I don't think so.
Go ahead.
I mean, I rolled a 12 total, which is not that hot.
Well, roll with advantage.
That means you roll again, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That was worse.
Kind of looking over this construction, much the same, passing through Sentinel and then Avenhelm as you did. You see most ships equipped with ballista, but you have seen cannons of a form before. This appears to not be a ship cannon per se. This is a custom designed make. You can tell it's certainly made for the purpose of, as you're kind of looking over what little remains of this burned up form, the metal, almost as it grooves through what little bits of wood remain, there's a decay around the metal. Not only is the metal old, obviously, at this point, and quite rusting, but you're not certain of a make, you're not certain of an origin, you don't find any maker's marks of anything of that nature.
While drawing a rough sketch, Maslin would say to himself quietly, "Who could have put such a thing in a tree?"
Good question.
No idea.
DM, do I notice if it looks anything similar to the jars we found or anything? Actually, that, and then if I look at the wreckage, does that look familiar?
You mean the various buildings around, or the what remains of them? What are you talking about?
Anything that got hit by the cannon bomb thing.
I mean, in regards to the weaponry and the effect it had on the land, it's an explosion. You gather that much. It does have the same effect as the devices, but that's what explosives do.
Right.
When it comes to recognizing if this is similar to something the agents of the Cloaked Serpent would employ, make just a general. Just roll a d20. I don't even know what to call this. And add your proficiency.
No.
2. So 5.
You're uncertain. As you're glancing around, you can see various fallen logs. The ones that haven't been blasted away are similarly, a fallen tree almost 20 feet away. The metal's embedded, but that tree isn't animate. You're not certain. Most of you have never experienced this kind of entity before.
Can I examine the metal itself?
Sure. Make another investigation check. What are you trying to examine it for?
Just to see if there's anything about it, any symbols, markings, or anything about it that seems like it's not just some random ass metal. And I rolled a 21.
Okay. I will say, because your previous investigation, I told you did not find a maker's mark, which would indicate an origin of source. You do, with that roll, you begin to understand that this metal, although over time has lost its luster, was once imbued and was, as a manner of form, is a... I don't know what the best word to describe this is. In the same manner to the cuirass that you found, which is embedded and created an indentured entity. This is more of setting foundation. And as you kind of glance around at some of the trees embedded with metal, some of them standing, some of them fallen, you're not entirely certain how these creatures, the treants that asked for your aid, come into being. But you get the sense that embedded in a manner such as this, when that process occurs, it falls subjugate to commands. And it's not hard to tell this is a weapon of war.
Okay.
And if you're sharing that
Basil,
knowledge with
yeah.
the group,
After sharing all that, he would freely ask, when was the last time war was waged here?
Gardak, Zessarin make history checks.
How large is this gun?
The treant itself was a huge creature. This weapon is about 15 feet of just pure solid metal.
21.
17.
Gardak, you're beginning to piece together just a little bit, you know, between the War of Broken Souls and the downfall of the Crude Alpapalancy. The Brezi Empire employed many weapons of war, and although you had never heard quite whisperings of a town in the wreckage such as this, what little remains of stone foundations, you don't find any writing, but you remember hearing as you kind of were educated once you made your way to Quilldeep and became the person that you became. The history of the Brezi Empire post-war was steeped in, obviously, history is written by the victors. You're fully aware of that. But there's, even in the Northern Brezi Empire, especially later in your life, you've come to learn that there's two sides to every story. And the Brezi Empire isn't always looked upon favorably for what it leveraged during the war and the things that it was supposedly responsible for. You do know from your previous exploits and travels in the Luminous Levant and beyond that when the War of Broken Souls was in full swing, the recession of the Crude Alpapalancy was mostly pressured by pressures from the Iodin Accord, which is to the north of the Northern Brezi Empire, which is what the lands of the Crude Alpapalancy used to be, and the South Brezi Empire pressing in. And because of the agreement, or perhaps the betrayal, some say, of the Iodin Accord, Veclorian creatures and weapons of war, as you had discovered in the Luminous Levant, were provided to the Brezi Empire in droves. There was a number of world reasons, not all of it clear to you, why the Crude Alpapalancy was targeted thusly so. But it was by all accounts, although you're not certain how much of it is people talking out of sour memory, it was by all accounts a multifaceted attack on almost helpless defender. But there's two sides to every story, so it's about the most you'll get with that history roll, which is quite a lot. But as for the origin and nature of this weapon, or who used it, you're not certain.
Has anybody looked around in the buildings yet?
What little is left is empty, dilapidated stone foundations, just the hints of where a building might have used to be.
Got it.
Almost all of it's overgrown. If you want to take a look around, you can.
I mean, why not? I'm already here.
Sure, make an investigation check. If somebody's helping you, take advantage.
My dice hate me today.
I'll help her with advantage.
Go ahead. I got a 2.
Yeah, roll.
You can roll separately or with advantage. It's your choice.
Yeah, she's good.
I mean, I got a +0, so you might want to take that one.
Sure. I probably have like +1.
Better than 0.
16.
16, as you're kind of poking through the rubble, you're not entirely certain if the various weaponry that you see laying and strewn about is a result of a battle that took place here or more of a militia defending. But you find amongst it older designs You see older logos of what you know to be the Brezi Empire with the eagle emblazoned in the bronze, at this point now rusted beyond comprehension. And you find similar shields to the ones you saw in the Bella Range and in your travel here. They seem to bear the marking of a crimson shield on the front, reasoning just from the fact that a war was here. That is the symbol of the Kurudal Propalancy, probably. But amongst the nature of the buildings and the construction and the make, it mirrors Middleswood in terms of a, swampy, forested bog town. You're not certain if it was originally Kurudal or Brezi.
Okay.
DM, if at all possible, while this is happening, I would like to attempt a short rest.
You may. All of you are able to accomplish a short rest if that's your choosing.
That's fine.
Fantastic.
As most of you bandaging your wounds, Naratai assisting you, Drusk. You begin to hear in the distance the looming footsteps and creaking of wood. It seems perhaps a new visitor, or the ones who asked for your aid returning, and as you kind of glance at the tree line, you can see movement. And Naratai kind of rises again, after helping you bandage some of your wounds, and then you can see emerging from the edge of the wood. You're not certain if this is the same creature who solicited your help before, surrounded by others, but as 3, 4 emerge in a large, almost semicircle around you. There's a breeze of wind, a confirmation of thanks, a promise of turning the tide, and a promise to provide as safe passage as can be.
I will thank them for safe passage.
Mm-hmm.
As a response, almost as the wind shifts and your surface level emotions are affected, of a debt happily paid. And you can see many of the treants that surround you now, much in line reasoning with the cannon fire that you heard in the distance, damaged, but some of them recovering, some of them permanently scarred, but nonetheless an eternal fight continuing, it seems. And you kind of glance over, so you can see some in the semicircle now approaching some of the fallen trees and the metal, and they begin almost rending it. You can hear the terrible screeching as they rend the metal out of these wooded trees around, almost disassembling it of a form.
You guys ready to continue on?
Yeah. Definitely.
The next fold through the root should be a good one, I hope. We'll see how far it takes us. As he kind of almost gets up and begins to lead you guys once more. As you guys kind of all stand and you see the treants, you can see some of them kind of gauging where Naratai is going. And you can see them kind of filter out into the trees 50, 60 feet. You can hear looming in the distance their footsteps as they seem to be almost following alongside. Each of you following Naratai as you go. You can see he first takes kind of a glance around trying to get his bearings on where to go, and he fucking does. As he kind of approaches this tree, you can see in a similar fashion he waves his hand. You can see this almost gateway open up. As you kind of all begin to look, it's settling into evening now. And just as you begin to almost all make your way into this gateway, the faintest bit of snow begins to fall. And I think as you enter in, you can feel yourselves move, being shifted, and that's where we'll take a break.
Break time.
Break time. Break time. Break time. rumble we shall. So, you all kind of stepping through this familiar sensation, this pulling motion. And as you all step in and through, your vision becomes white. And as you kind of plop down, you can feel the soft crunch of snow under your feet. It seems you've been transported some distance, perhaps further into where this snow had already passed that you just saw, or into its path as the snow continues to fall around you. It's a decent coverage, but as you all kind of emerge, go ahead and make perception checks for me.
Everybody?
Sure.
Wow.
Natural 20.
What's the roll?
Perception.
25.
I
Non-
perceive 19.
4.
10.
Most of you are kind of standing there pensively, quietly for a moment. You're just listening, and it's quiet. The quiet snowfall of one of the final nights in Sulim, which is one of the months near the end of the year, as the winter is setting in. But then, almost as if by your presence, you can hear off in the distance the gentle creaking of a tree and the thudding of a footstep. As it appears, perhaps your guardians follow you even so. You see Naratai kind of takes a moment and places his hand within the snow. And he almost begins tracing with his index finger. It's a lengthy path as he's kind of almost mentally charting out where next in the weave, the next jump point perhaps, or if this is near your journey's end. It's hard to say. But each of you kind of gathering together and preparing to follow Naratai, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
It's a couple short hours of travel. The night now beginning to set in. It's getting to a reasonable point when Naratai would normally, you all would stop and set up the dome. I imagine, Maslin, you begin to go about these machinations eventually. As you're kind of nearing night hours, as the sun finally begins to set, you come upon this, everything snowed now. Not necessarily rivers as you pass, but these bodies of water that kind of warp and twist. Not unfamiliar to your journey so far, but these are obviously cold and snow-ridden, little bits of ice licking at the sides. I need everybody to make a charisma saving throw with the exception of Maslin. Charisma.
18.
Rolled an 18, so that's a 17.
I rolled a 12, so even with my +1 ring, that's an 11.
18.
18. Oh.
You're all kind of following Naratai. This is a quiet, almost recluded meadow. It's strange. There's a feeling over all of you. This place is peaceful. Receded. Almost isolated of a form. You don't feel uncomfortable here. As you're kind of progressing along, you kind of watch Naratai just almost stutter step. Freeze for a moment. Drusk, you could just stay. And as you all kind of glance, Naratai, this is just a general check for your experience throughout all this, obviously. Kind of look over, every once in a while, Naratai stops and Drusk stops. Some of you do as well, but you manage through, and you realize you're almost drifting off to temporary sleep for seconds at a time. It's almost like, best way I can describe it to you humans, when you accidentally fall asleep and then kind of jolt yourself awake. And some of you are experiencing this more than others, as that is just a general check. But this is a strange, comforting place that, in a sense, almost lulls you, mentally.
Do I notice this is happening?
You see the rest of your party mates slowing. It's an interesting experience.
I want to approach Drusk. Just, slowly upon the path, walk up next to him. Just say, are you alright, my brother?
Yeah, I think it's just been a long day now.
It has, but we must make it through, at least till nightfall. Are you feeling a certain way you shouldn't?
No, I think I'm looking for to rest tonight now.
Talk a little closer to the mic, bud.
Oh.
I think I'm just looking forward to rest tonight,
So, would I know anything about the effects of magical sleep and how deep it can put someone, or whether or not my party might be at risk right now?
Make an Arcana check.
Oh! That's a not so bad 9, but there was a lot of modifier.
It's interesting because you've never really had the means to research it. You as an elf do not sleep. And you're not affected by such incantations. It was never really a part of your focus. You're at a loss for what might be happening, or maybe it's not even magical. You're not certain. You don't know the nature of what is occurring. Except for your friends, you can see them all kind of nodding every once in a while, dazedly.
Gee, I'm just curious, what about Bar Mitzvah?
Make a charisma saving throw for Bar Mitzvah.
Hold on, can you?
Does Carl need one? Nope.
Sure. Yeah, make one for your imp as well.
Oh no! That'll be a 1.
Yeah, 4.
As you're kind of checking, I need to look something up now. As you're kind of checking your bag, you can see Bar Mitzvah fast asleep. You're not sure. You get a general sense of his sleep schedule. He doesn't normally take naps during non-nighttime. He's sleeping like a baby right now.
Big sleepy boy.
As for your imp, Draku, I believe, unless there is a reason why not,
Yeah, I don't think there
at
is.
times you all, for the first time, I believe, see a creature almost stutter in and out of existence. It's almost this pop as this fiendish, devil-looking winged creature kind of bamfs into existence, and as you're all kind of taking in, you're all thrown aback. Then all of a sudden, it seems, as you know, Draku, he's recovering and makes himself invisible again. But you all catch short glimpses of a fiendish, winged creature.
Yeah, I think I really need to go to sleep. I think I'm seeing some shit.
How much longer till our destination?
Well, this is interesting. I believe I just realized that your imp never could be invisible. He can take the form of a different beast. Well, we'll say your imp has the capability to be invisible. Oh yeah, he does. Invisibility.
Yeah, interactions, yeah.
As if concentrating on a spell. Got it. Yeah, sorry. I was looking under the stats block,
You're fine.
which doesn't have the actions. It's on the other page. Any whoosies. Yeah.
Well, Maslin's going to take mental note that he's fully conscious of seeing an imp dazing in and out of sleep like the rest of the party, basically. Unless you want me to roll for it.
Conscious.
No, I mean, you at times see a fiendish winged creature. You're not certain exactly what it is, unless you'd like to make a history check to know what an imp is.
Oh, hell yeah. It's like a 23. No, that's like a fucking 26.
You've heard of creatures from the hells before. These are servants in services to a master of some form. And each time you watch this creature kind of bamf in and out of existence, you can see it. It's not hard to generally tell as you guys are kind of traveling through with all the pausing and whatnot. This creature kind of glances to Draku every time that it comes back and then poof, turns invisible once more.
Draku, I don't want to startle you, but I think there's something.
there's nothing follow us. I think we can talk about this at a later date, but I think there's a lot more going on than just that.
Maslin trusts Draku enough at this point to not be so worried about it, even with his prior knowledge.
Right. I'm not trying to hide knowledge. I just like we are in the middle of a really fucked situation.
Well, he doesn't say that out loud.
No, I know.
I'm not hallucinating.
Well, party. Should we stop now, or do you think we can trudge on a little further?
I think we need to keep going.
Also, I'll turn to Naratai and say, I see that you also are being affected. This is something that you're familiar with in this area. We're at this time of year.
I'm not familiar, but I've heard from some of those that I lost about such places, connected as they are to nature. There's a place lulls you. It's known as the Feywild. Creatures that go choose often to stay. We are not there. I have not taken us through that part of the weave and through the root, but perhaps this is one of the crossovers between. I was not anticipating this.
So we should not stop.
Are we still safe?
You see as he kind of looks, and at this point now, the 3 moons over Balyrasoa, the main one looming large, and the 2 retreated in the distance. It's strange. It's like he's asking a question to a sourceless entity. There's no words, no shift in wind of druidic. Our safety is burgeoned by our guardians, but even they do not control all. As I had warned, both the good and the bad of this divide will take note of your presence, as you've been doing much in it.
Alright. So Maslin's gonna say, I've heard that this works on your kind. Please bear with me. He's gonna walk around to each of you. Who wants to be first? Who wants to be first?
I'll go.
Alright, he's gonna walk up to your character and slap you.
What the hell?
Are you awake now? Are you awake?
I punched him.
Roll, yeah, you just punch him, I assume, unless you're trying to evade being punched.
It's a, I think a 10.
Yes.
As
It
you-
It
hurts.
just glances off me and I'm okay. But are you awake? Are you awake now?
Lex, I don't think I'm awake.
Damn it.
I
I was
a
told
try.
that works.
That was a good try.
Yeah, this anger kind of wells up on you, and as you strike back, he's like, "Are you awake? Are you awake?" And you assure him so, and then once again you feel that kind of jolt of like falling asleep in a chair or somewhere you're trying to stay awake for.
Hold on.
That was a good try.
I have another idea.
I have no ideas.
I'm gonna save it.
I'm gonna start curling asleep on the floor.
All right, Maslin's gonna cast suggestion on Drusk. I need a level 15 wisdom save from you, bro.
It's a billion.
You could also choose not to resist. I'm just saying.
I'm trying to fall asleep though. Like, it's
So
a
you're
20
so you're not trying to resist though. You're trying to fall asleep. You're not trying to resist.
Unless you're suggesting I sleep.
No, I'm not suggesting that.
Not the 26. I'm going to sleep, bro.
Okay.
As long as I'm still standing, I'll pick Drusk up and throw him over my shoulder like a sack of potatoes while
I
he
don't weigh
sleeps.
much.
Okay. Make a wisdom check. Or no, make another charisma saving throw.
Who, me or?
Rocks.
That's a 10.
You're capable of carrying Drusk, that's not a problem, but these moments when you're kind of lulling to sleep, the added weight, the bulk, you're getting close to dropping Drusk flat in the snow.
Can I see
It's like falling asleep with a basket in your hands.
Can I see any kind of like, I don't know, cave or indentation in a mountain or hill or I don't know, somewhere that I could potentially, because I'm assuming these people are about to just pass the fuck out. So I'm trying to look for a place to drag them to.
Make a perception check.
Champ. That's like 7.
Kind of looking out, there's a body of water over to your left, thereabouts. The ice is creeping in on it. You don't see a cave or cliffside of any form. I mean, you see rocks around, and you see rocks. But there's not necessarily a retreat here, a recess of sorts.
Maslin, what about that where we sleep sometimes and you can change the color?
I'm worried that if you all fall asleep here, you're not going to wake up. If you all fall asleep, you'll leave me no choice to drag you to the spot and cast it upon you. But I urge us to carry on. I will help you carry the lizard man for now. And I'll try to get up behind and carry the legs over my shoulder.
Okay.
I'm like this tall. Poor Drusk is just like sleeping.
Slump.
As you all begin to try to press on and through,
Should leap.
I will
If
require
the tide drops, we're going to have to stop then, though.
I will require another charisma saving throw from everybody except for Maslin as a readjustment, as you are now trying to press through whatever is occurring.
Ooh.
Alrighty.
Natural 20 for 19.
Man.
Nice.
Right.
8.
Oh, only a 6.
Thank God.
I'm screwed.
Yeah, like 26.
Okay.
I have +7.
This is one thing he's good at.
Damn.
Zessarin, Gardak. Man, this place is nice.
Does Drusk get a second chance? Or is he just out?
He gave up.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
You may roll if you like, Drusk.
Bro, I got my ass handed to me and went to bed.
It's fair.
Sure. This is gonna be comical. 1.
All right.
Nice.
So you're kind of carrying the lizard man. Your rocks in a moment of humor as you're kind of trying to power through it. A good point of order. Even with a success, you still are experiencing these jolts of sleep. You're just fighting through it better as a general check for your experience. But you look between Bar Mitzvah and Drusk and you don't see a difference. 2 babies just sleeping. Zessarin, Gardak. There's lulls and moments where you don't remember walking the past 30 paces. And you all, still following Naratai, have noticed even his path is meandering. His footsteps through the snow. As you glance back, it's not a straight line he's leading you in anymore. Not that he was really ever leading you in a directly straight line, but there was always a progression. And you can see now he's taking paths that are not optimal. At one point, he leads you almost in a circle. As you come upon some footsteps, you realize, counting them, oh boy, this is indeed 7 pairs of humanoid footsteps.
Maslin would like to go up behind Naratai and try to maybe catch him underarm and say, "Hell, let me carry you, brother. Just focus on what way to go."
My apologies. I don't know. I don't know if what I said is true or. So he's gonna
Stop and look around, brother. Look at the trees. Which ones do you recognize? Which ones are your friends?
I'll make him roll for that too. Why not? Where the fuck? Nope. Where's my other D20? There we are. You can see as those words strike him as he rolled a natural 20. He's looking straight, narrow. He's refocused, and you can see as he kind of waves his hand almost flowers grow across one of the trees, and as they grow, they shift in a given direction, seemingly pointing him the way. However, he rolled exceedingly poor on his charisma saving throw, so you were, for all intents and purposes, while guided, very, very slow. And at this point in your journey, it's been 30, 40 minutes in this lulling experience. Most of you kind of losing your focus, essentially carrying yourselves guideless. And the night is setting in. It is getting unbiddenly cold.
Yeah, I guess at this point, I'm probably going to suggest that we just, I don't know, we set up camp behind a rock somewhere.
What
Because
if you said this was Fey area, and that could be what we're feeling? Is there like something that could keep the Fey's effects away? You know how like you put a circle of salt on the ground to keep ghosts away?
it's vampire. Or no, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
Is it ghost? I don't-
Demons.
Vampires, garlic.
I thought we had a fort or something.
We do, but we're not sure if we fall asleep in it, if it'll still affect
Yeah.
us.
I mean, I don't want to slap all of you awake in the morning. I might get punched 5 different times.
Ian, we have
Take
we
one for the team.
have the 10-foot radius dome. You don't have the fort. That's
Yeah.
Oh, that's
we,
the other one.
You can call it a fort. We can call it a fort.
It's like a pillow fort.
Oh,
It's like a fort for bedrolls. Essentially it.
What
DM
is it? A
Zach,
fort
question
for ants?
Maratai, by the way.
I did not hear what you said.
The question was directed at Naratai about stopping whatever
Oh.
effects.
I'm afraid I don't know. I've only heard tell. I'm not even sure if that's what's happening here. There are places with even more memory than all the strife that you've experienced so far. This could be as old as the valley we stand in. I don't even know if this is quite the crossover or not. Each time he finishes a sentence, there's a lull as he falling asleep almost at every pace. So,
Alright.
for the purposes of this, I would like to ask for a marching order, and then if you want to continue to press as much as you can, or if you are eventually setting up the dome before, I will say, midnight.
I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna say Naratai is obviously exhausted. It's not even gonna lead us too much further, and as soon as we all start dropping, it's worth not anyway. I have not the strength to carry anyone.
The only thing that I'm even slightly concerned about is how are we going to take watch?
I will watch all night, Maslin will say.
I mean, I'll try to watch.
Yeah, I don't
I'll
have to
be
concentrate on
exhausted.
Tiny Hut. Maslin's gonna try to power through the night.
Okay, maybe we can find a way for you to rest tomorrow. If anything does happen, come get me.
Well, I hope. If something does, anyone wakes up.
As Maslin starts to go through the process of setting up the dome. For the purposes of this, I will ask for one final charisma saving throw from everybody except for Maslin.
Oh my god, it's getting worse. 3.
10.
That's a 0 from me.
Talking my way out of sleep.
Draku?
24.
Ah, okay. Drusk?
17, but I'm already asleep.
It's okay. This is for a different purpose.
Sure.
So I'm keeping that in mind. Wow. Your experiences don't shift and change too much. This is an initial check for note. And it'll become clear in a moment why. What is your general layout as you guys are in a bunch? Would you like to establish a front, middle, and rear?
Pick from-
Like, are we still marching? You're talking about once I've cast the
At
Tiny
this
Hut.
point, Maslin is almost knees in the snow, working on the incantation. How would you like to be arrayed around him, I will say?
I was kind of just hanging out right next to him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it gets too cold, then I'll cast create bonfire just to kind of, I don't know, help. But
I think I've got Drusk with me too, so
Okay.
up around wherever the door would be.
So generally, something of that manner.
How do we get in?
Everyone who's watching except for Maslin is free to make perception checks if they would like, as you're generally just waiting for the incantation to finish.
24.
14.
I think we lost Zach and Liz. Oh no, they're back. I see Zach's 0. What'd you get, Rox?
2.
As you're all kind of listening, Maslin kind of working slowly on the incantation, you continue to lull yourself. Gardak, you see movements, the edge of foliage, shifting a snowfall from what is otherwise a motionless meadow. And as you're kind of lolling back and forth, you're trying to keep track on it through this environ. You find yourself incapable of doing so. But then, right as you begin to think, I should call this out to my... You see one final image before, because of your role, you are considered unconscious at the beginning of this. But you see a almost monstrosity beast, 4-legged, low, prowling, with what seems to be 2 or 3 appendages, all kind of scouting, almost antenna, almost sensors. For the purposes of this, I need everybody to roll initiative. Zessarin, Gardak, Rox, and Naratai begin whatever this may be, as you have not fully established your foes yet, unconscious. Full HP, but unconscious.
And we still need initiative?
We do need initiative.
Okay.
You want me to roll something? I just initiative.
What?
No, your
Since D&D, you roll here?
charisma saving throw was the
Whatever.
your charisma saving throw was the
Oh.
check to see what your condition is at the start of this. But now, Gardak kind of blinking in and out. The only figure you see is over here, amongst the foliage. It appears to be... Yes. As the snowfall kind of has fallen in. Maslin, you're kind of glancing up, and you realize this incantation isn't getting done. You are the only one who never has to make a charisma saving throw when I call it out. But, initiative, 25 to 20.
21.
I should roll for Naratai. Okay, Naratai and you are going at the same time. But you'll both be asleep on the first round. 20 to 15.
19.
Rox at a 19. I believe I heard Draku at a 18.
15.
Ah, Draku. Got it. 10 to 5.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, I was 13.
Okay. I believe
I'm
that's
sorry.
higher than yours, Draku. I forgot already. Sorry.
Draku was 15.
Yeah.
So you were at a 13, Maslin. I just want to make sure I get this
Yes.
right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm at 13.
Sorry, I got twisted up there. What was I on? 10 to 5?
I'm 5.
I am missing Drusk somehow. I don't remember where the hell he spoke up, if at all.
They're kind of lagging at
21.
21 was Drusk? Okay, yeah, you guys are lagging out a little bit. So I guess you, Gardak, and Naratai are all going at the same time.
I'm
Drusk.
unconscious.
That is true.
Also,
No, actually, you succeeded your last saving throw. For the purposes of beginning this round of combat, you are conscious. Unless you really want to be asleep, you can. Okay. The only one that has been spotted thus far is you all kind of see Gardak shift in the snow. You can see kind of dropping into a battle stance, and then you see the shoulders slump. As Gardak is currently considered unconscious. For the purposes of combat, you are not knocked prone as
I
you
think we
fall asleep.
lost. I think we lost. Yeah.
I'm hoping we didn't, but I'm just going to keep going because there's absolutely nothing I can do about it. So, Drusk would be up, but will delay his turn. Gardak and Naratai, both of you are unconscious. Rox, you are also unconscious. Draku, as you kind of move and shift.
Doo-doo.
I'm waiting. I'm not even gonna bother with the overlay. I'm just gonna wait for him to come back. Hopefully, as you kind of move and shift, you can see just the very, very faint form of a feline figure with these tentacles kind of reaching up and over. As you saw Gardak kind of drop into a battle stance, but then fall asleep. What are you doing?
I cast Shadow Blade and I hit him with it.
Okay.
I throw it
Kind of wreathing out the Shadow Blade. What is your range on the throw?
at him. I actually don't know. Hold on. It's 2060.
You would have to move.
That's
But-
fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna at this point I'm just gonna run towards it.
Yeah.
At it, but just close enough.
Wait,
Do you
oh,
want
no.
your imp to go with you or no?
I want him to kind of lag behind.
Okay.
Maybe even a little bit more to the right, just so he's not close to them.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So I'll summon the Shadow Blade and yeah, I'll throw it. So that's what 3d8 at advantage.
It is actually a straight roll. As you can see, this form and figure shifting almost suddenly. So it looks. You're not entirely familiar with the creature itself, but it almost looks like it's casting a mirror image of itself as it kind of shifting back and forth. Classic D&D monster.
Oh, I know what this is.
15.
15 does indeed hit.
All right. Looks like 12.
Okay. This is going to be really hard for me to track. I'm actually going to throw out some numbers here. So, sorry. You said 12 damage?
Yeah.
Okay. As you kind of throw this Shadow Blade forth and then resummon it to your hand, you can see this creature now that you've struck it doesn't seem to be displacing itself anymore. It's no longer shifting. Do you have a second attack? I'm not familiar with
I
it.
don't think so. No. I think it's just that's
It would be under actions, attacks per action. Be at the top.
Yeah. Attach reaction is 1.
Okay. Would you like to move? I think that was 20 feet of your movement, so you can always move back or forward.
Yeah. I'm gonna try and just move back 10 feet.
Okay. Kind of getting by Gardak, you can see still slumping, at least for the purposes of this specific combat. Maslin, you are up, knees currently down in the snow, and you see this form. Make a perception check now that you're no longer focusing on the incantation.
Stupid low. 7.
You have evidently heard Draku casting a spell, and you hear almost this screech as an ethereal blade has been thrown through the air. And as you
Do I have clear line of sight?
as you kind of glance over your shoulder, you can see this familiar creature. Yes,
Okay.
as I've described it like fucking 6 times.
I'm gonna get off my knees.
Okay.
And I'm gonna cast Chromatic Orb at level 3. And I'm gonna use a Portents of 20, which gets a +7 onto it. And I'm gonna cast it with Thunder damage.
Okay, sorry. Run that one by me one more time. You're gonna do what now?
I'm gonna cast Chromatic Orb at level 3.
Okay,
I have a Portents of a 20 that
That
gets
is
a +7 to it.
so that is a natural 20.
Does it count as a critical? I don't know.
It does.
Okay. Well,
So your chromatic
Then-
orb critting with what type of damage? Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I had you right. on that one.
Thunder.
Okay, go for it.
That's really low. So 15 times 2, right?
All of the dice are doubled.
Yeah. So it was 15.
So 30.
Yeah.
Nice. So you kind of rising to your
Those are all like 2s and 3s almost, which is so bad.
that is unfortunate. As you're kind of oh boy, look at this. What a mess.
Sorry, the internet kind of.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Is that the technical term?
I'll just die.
Yeah.
Anyways, as you're kind of reaching forward, you twist fate knowing that a moment like an ambush like this might be coming. And you're kind of focusing, and then all of a sudden you hear a thunderous boom as Maslin, I don't know if you guys caught the tail end of that, managed to hit this, what seems to be a feline beast with a natural 20.
We did catch that, yeah.
Pre-faded. So that was good. That ends your go, Maslin, and brings us to Zesserin. Zesserin, for this round of combat, you are asleep.
Night,
that-
night.
So that brings us back up to the top of the initiative order, where I need everyone to make another charisma saving throw.
Everyone?
Everybody except for Maslin. Sorry.
That's okay.
15.
15.
Natural 1 for 8.
13.
Rox, unconscious. Gardak, conscious. Draku, unconscious. Zesserin, what'd you get?
Wait, I'm supposed to do something?
Charisma saving throw. What'd you get, Drusk?
Oh,
Sorry.
again?
14.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay. You are unconscious as well.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Oh, God. I got 5 again.
Okay.
Night, night.
Who is conscious? That's easier for me to track. Just Gardak. Okay, we'll see if Naratai joins you.
Like,
At
Gardak
this
and
point, I
Muzzle.
get a long rest.
Naratai manages to join you. Okay, that brings us back up to the top. Naratai is conscious. I'm trying to do fucking 3 things at once, but that's okay.
Don't worry,
Um,
man.
I'm gonna... No, he wouldn't do that. That would be too stupid for him to do.
Don't let me out of frame.
Yeah, I know. I gotta work on it, but I've also gotta figure out what Naratai's doing.
You're in time out.
Yeah.
Shiza.
I think I can get it in there. There I am. I'm in here. Don't worry, we can do this.
Hey, wait, I'm gonna slap you in. Are you ready? Ready?
Alright. Alright.
Ah!
Ah! Oh wait, I go the wrong way. Oh, there I am.
I honestly hate it. I'm glad you guys are entertaining yourselves while I figure out what to do. Yeah, Naratai's
too.
gonna... Yeah, seeing this threat, he's gonna move up. Move up next to you, Gardak, and as he kind of places a hand on your back, you feel a little sturdier as he casts Shield of Faith on you. Your AC is increased by 2. So, keep track of that.
Okay.
He is concentrating on that, I believe. Fairly certain.
Not for
shield.
long.
Yeah, we'll see. At the very least, that ends Naratai's go. Drusk, I believe you are unconscious.
Yep.
Gardak, I believe you are conscious.
Yes.
What if anything, are you doing, my dear boy?
I would like to, I guess, aim at the thing that I can see with my crossbow.
Sure, go for it.
Yeet! Non-natural 20.
That hits.
Okay.
Ah,
So that's
already made the first of many mistakes, but go ahead. Sorry.
9 points of damage.
Okay. 9. Nice. You can see this creature taking the hits in stride. It's not looking very good for wear, but you're also wary as you're kind of glancing around. Is it part of a pack? But at the moment, you don't see any extras emerging. You know what I just realized? I didn't even put them on the fucking initiative order. What am I thinking? My creatures aren't going. That's cocked. Because I haven't rolled initiative for them. That's okay. They rolled dog shit. We'll just say they missed a round. Because they literally rolled a natural 1. So we'll just say they literally missed the surprise round. Or the round. Because what do I care? You have a second attack? Sorry.
Yes.
Go for it.
Second attack. 12.
12, unfortunately, as you're kind of re-aiming, you're not quite able to hit it as it kind of scatters in behind the rock. Naratai has already gone. Drusk, you are asleep. Rox, I believe you are asleep. Draku, I believe you are asleep.
Yes.
What'd you want, Liz? Sorry.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
If you're
Okay.
wondering about Bar Mitzvah and the Imp, I'm not really... I mean, unless you want the Imp to do something Draku, you can make a check for him. Maslin, conscious as you are, impervious. I believe, Draku, you're asleep, right? Okay, got it. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody here.
I need to ask because I really don't remember. I remember I tried to use a portent against the first treant that rushed me, and I realized it wasn't attacking me, so I didn't. Did I ever use a portent of 10 earlier today?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, if that isn't so the case,
Because
then I'm
you
going to use
shielded
it.
instead of... I don't think you affected anything to the saving throw.
Yeah, I don't think I did either, but I want to make sure. So anyway, I'm going to use Id Intuition against this creature, and
Okay.
I'm going to force its will save to be a 10 roll, so it needs to have a plus of 5 to succeed.
Don't worry, it does not have a plus of 5.
Alright, it is incapacitated, and on its next turn it can try to do something.
Okay. That is your go, I believe.
Yeah.
Zesserin, if I am right, I believe you are unconscious.
Yep.
Okay. That brings us to the creature's turn, whose turn I missed the first time.
It takes a d12 worth of damage.
Oh, okay.
That's an 8.
I forgot about insinuations damage.
Alright, 8. And then at the end of its turn, it gets to make a wisdom saving throw. So, just in case this is a thing it has to cast every round, it doesn't cast it this round.
I will have... it would be its turn, so I will have it roll a wisdom saving throw against an insinuation, which it failed. Miserably. So it is still
Okay.
incapacitated post its turn. However, as all of you kind of beginning to lull yourself back up, still groggily swaying about, now you can see kind of skittering up and over the rock. Another.
Ah, fuck.
And as Zesserin, as you're kind of blinking almost back to, you can see again, up and over the rock leaps yet another.
Oh, no.
Fucking DJ Khaled up in here.
Draku, over an impression in the snow, you can see pressing and closing in what appears to be yet one more. As you have all been surrounded in this manner. However, that is the majority of their movements. I will say, because you are so far, Zesserin, this one can move 5 feet to close a gap with you. Which now it will take 2 attacks against you. The first at advantage, because you are technically unconscious. Well, it's gonna fucking hit. That's a 25 to hit. As you are
Yep.
unconscious. Not to worry. Oh boy, as you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage. 8 points, or sorry, 3 points of piercing damage. I added the wrong thing.
Wait, so 8 points and 3 points?
Yes,
Okay.
so 11 total.
Yep.
Uh,
Making sure.
That is their go, though. Most of their movement, and that one's incapacitated. So, that brings us back up to the top of initiative. And you want to make a charisma saving throw. I'm guessing that head shake was not good for you, Rox.
13 again?
Sorry, technically unconscious, it would be a crit if it's within 5 feet.
Then rather than 11 damage, it's 22 damage.
Alrighty.
That is a big difference.
It's a big old difference.
Drusk,
17.
you are able to keep yourself lucid for this round. Zesserin, what'd you get on a charisma saving throw?
I'll tell you, right?
Mhm.
9. I'm guessing that failed.
It did indeed.
Oh my god.
Naratai succeeded, however.
Big
Okay.
sleepy.
I believe I don't have a status for Draku, though.
21.
Okay. So I believe it's just Drusk, Rox, and Zesserin that are unconscious this round. Got it. So, at the start, Drusk, unfortunately, you are asleep for this round. Gardak, you are up.
Alright. I guess the one east of me.
This one here?
That one is what I want to aim at now.
Are you firing or are you approaching?
I'm firing.
Okay, go for it.
All right. The first one is a. Oh, that's a natural 20.
Ooh,
Ooh.
roll your
Oh.
damage. Double the dice.
So that is 13.
13 points of damage. Did you double the dice?
Yes,
Okay.
because I have a +1. So it'd be odd.
Well, at least you're rolling better these days with your virtual dice. Not that I approve of virtual dice myself, but it's better than what you had.
Kind of mad about it, not gonna lie. All right.
I'm just gonna send you new
and
dice
the
for
next
Christmas.
one, and I'm going to curse them with my entire aura. All right, next one is a 21.
21 hits. Oh, I forgot about its displacement. Fuck it.
That's 6 points.
Okay. Got it. Would you like to move, or are you staying near your allies? There, you're next to Naratai and Draku.
I'm gonna stay next to him.
Okay. That ends your go and brings us to Naratai, who... Yeah. He's gonna circle around, concentrating, but he's willing to risk it. He's going to... He's just gonna take a strike. He's not gonna cast any crazy smites. As this one is no longer displacing, he managed just to hit. He's gonna drop a smite at... Okay. Where's the smite dice? Smite dice. Smite dice. That's against the one. So you kind of... Most of you who are lucid anyway, or I should say those who are lucid, because I don't believe most of you are, watch as Naratai kind of approaches up and in, and as he slashes up with the scimitar, there's left behind, after the path, this almost radiant light that burns up the form of this beast. Looking hurt. Looking hurt. That ends its go, or Naratai's go. Rux, I believe you are unconscious.
Yep.
Draku, I believe you are conscious.
Yep. I guess the enemy that showed up next to me, I'm gonna hit him with Eldritch Blast.
Okay. Go for it. Or did you want to hit the one that was... Oh, never mind. You didn't put a hex on him. That's right.
So, first one was 10 to hit,
10, unfortunately, does not hit.
and then a natural 20.
Natural 20 makes up for the miss.
Um, 6 doubled to 12.
12 plus something from your Eldritch Blast? Or do you not have that invocation?
Yeah, no, that was it included. 2 plus 4.
Oh, you rolled a 1?
No, I rolled a 2.
You double the dice, you crit.
Yeah, did I not say 6 to 12?
You don't double the +4.
Yeah, you don't double the plus 4.
Right. You're right. Sorry. 4. So yeah, 8. Yeah.
There you go. You got more damage out of it. I was just very confused by the math. Okay. Yeah, as you kind of blast out with this Eldritch energy, one kind of missing, but then you kind of readjust and just on target, you strike its center of chest. Not looking happy about that. Does that end your go, or did you want to move?
Yeah. Or yeah, I'm gonna move. I don't know. I guess south, like 15 feet towards my imp. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
That ends your go. Brings us to Maslin, who cannot be unconscious.
Alright, well, the one that just took the damage to the east, I'm gonna hit him with a level 3 chromatic orb.
Go for it.
I'm gonna make it fire this time. Oh, it's a 1.
As you're kind of
Hate my life.
focusing the light through the crystal, getting ready to espouse it into fire, you can see Naratai kind of dancing around. And risking hitting him, you choose better and decide to instead cancel the spell.
It's really nice to say I didn't just throw it at my own feet.
Yeah, as you're nearly certain you would have hit Naratai had you fired it off, so out of caution. Zessarin, I believe you are unconscious, my friend.
Yep.
And that brings us to the creatures, one of whom is
Oh,
standing
no.
next to Naratai, who is going to go ahead and miss Naratai with its first attack. And miss Naratai with its... Zessarin, how are you? Unconscious.
Not
as
doing
you are.
good.
At advantage, I shit you not, I rolled a 2 and a 3. So the first one misses. The second one is... What does it add? What does it add? 17 to hit.
Yes.
As you take... 4. I won't bother splitting the bludgeoning and piercing. As you take 7, doubled to 14.
Goodbye.
As Zessarin, you kind of blinking, and then again, the creature is just in front of you. You're kind of lulling yourself, and then you're just struck twice. Or struck at twice. And you end up falling unconscious.
What a smooth
For real this
arrow.
time.
Yep.
For real this time.
I better get like a long
Where's
rest.
Sussman on the map?
He is... Oh, I should probably lay him down. He's there. That ends that one's go. And the one that is next to y'all, because it's going to close the gap, is going to take one strike at, we'll say, Rox, who is currently unconscious, if I'm correct.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
need to also ask, how long has it been since the start of the last combat?
Your Cloak of Nature's ward would be not present anymore,
Okay.
if that's the question.
That was the question.
Because you guys traveled at least 40 minutes through this lolling area.
I didn't keep track.
Yeah, you did take a short rest as well.
Oh, you're right. Yep. Okay. I just need to make sure.
Rox, I believe that is a 23 to hit you.
Oh, that hits. Oh, I don't know.
These guys can't roll for shit. 9 points of piercing damage. Well, piercing and
Okay.
bludgeoning.
The crit?
Mm-hmm. As I rolled 2 1s.
Thanks.
Take
Or not a 1. Not 2 1s. Because he adds damage to the piercing bit. I don't really like this stat block a whole lot. I'm not really a fan. Okay. And the other one is incapacitated. It will make a saving throw at the end of its turn. Still fucking incapacitated.
And takes D12.
And takes a d12 of psychic damage.
11.
11. Oof. You can see as you kind of twisting your hand again, you almost racking its mind. It's looking not very good at all. As you have brought it down to math. What is math? Okay. That
Doesn't the
is-
one in front of Rox and me have a second attack, or do they not all have second attacks?
It would actually. Yeah, you're right. I'm not really a big fan of Displacer Beast, I found out.
And there goes the name slip.
Well, I knew it before.
Yeah,
This is a classic monster. You guys can easily find it. It's like on the front.
I know.
It's on the front of half of the artwork of D&D.
I know.
Rox, that's a 15 to hit.
No, actually.
Okay, because it doesn't roll with advantage anymore because you are conscious. As
He
it
is
is-
prone, though.
Unconscious?
You after it hits you, you would wake up. Yes.
Thank
She
God.
is still prone, though, so it would have advantage.
Why would
This
she
is
be
ma-
prone?
Because when you... So, unconscious, you're incapacitated, you drop whatever you're holding and fall prone, you automatically fail strength and dex saves, attack rolls against you have advantage, and anything that hits within 5 feet is a crit.
Okay, I understand that bit, but for the purposes of this combat, you don't fall. It's like lulling. It's like not being able to act during the turn.
You okay?
Like you guys weren't actively falling over in the snow. You were just blinking in and out, like falling asleep while standing.
Okay. Yeah, no, I
That
just,
makes
you
sense.
said unconscious, so...
I'm taking unconscious with a bit of levity here. Okay, that does end their go, however, and brings us back up to the top. Drusk, Gardak, and Naratai all together.
Do we need more charisma saves, or...
Oh yes, we would need more charisma saves. I'm starting to not like my own encounter design. Naratai succeeds.
15?
15, you are conscious for the duration of this round.
Thank God.
10.
Unfortunately, Drusk.
Sorry, 9.
Ouch.
14.
14 also.
Draku and Gardak just barely not making what you can now determine the DC is to be 15. What'd you get, Zessarin?
Big.
I thought I'm dead.
He's,
Or-
Oh.
he's down
Yeah.
now.
I don't.
That's right. That's right. That's
He's
right.
sleepy.
Yeah, I'm super sleep.
Okay. Well, Naratai, in the current status that you guys are in,
Sleep in the sky.
is going to take another strike at this one. And I don't think he's going to put another smite on his weapon just yet. He'll smite maybe if he hits. It's a disadvantage because they're displacing. And I hate displacer beasts. Naratai rolls through it. He'll drop a first level, I guess. Oh, Christ. Okay. Ugh. And a second strike. Because Naratai has 2 attacks, right? I think he does. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
I'm learning a number of lessons. Secondary being not running your own NPC character, if you can help it. But it doesn't make sense for him to be just a guide, I guess. That's another... Okay. You watch as, well, those of you that are conscious watch as Naratai swipes in again with a scimitar, and another burn of radiant, divine energy of a sort washes over this creature. Not looking good. 2 of them are not looking good at all. That brings us to Gardak. You are asleep. Rocks. Conscious. Foe in front of you.
Just for more flair purposes than actual like on the mat purpose, I'd like to say that I'd like stepped in front of Drusk to try to block him from it.
Okay.
If that's okay. And then I'm just gonna rage reckless.
Go for it. It is a straight roll.
What?
It is a straight roll as they are a displacer beast.
Shit.
As you can
Okay.
see this mirror, I forgot that you weren't here for this. You can see this mirror image kind of shifting with the creature as it's hard to place exactly where it is.
I didn't know about displacer beasts. So I got a 20 and a 16. Do you want me to roll again with a straight roll?
We'll let you take the 20. What do I
Are
care?
you sure?
Yeah, I don't care. It's one dice roll.
Just a second.
That's my beef for not letting you know.
24.
Did you add your 7?
Yeah. No.
24, huh?
31.
31 points of damage?
Yes.
This is why I'm glad you were unconscious for a few rounds. Okay, as you kind of carve into this beast in front of you, you almost lop off one of these tentacle appendages that is kind of shifting and moving, and now you can see that it is no longer this incorporeal shifting form. So your next attack will have advantage. If you go
Okay.
reckless again, I imagine.
Yes, please. Well, that's not great, but 19?
19 hits. How is 19 not great?
It's an 11 and a 9. Ooh, that was okay.
God forbid.
Meanwhile,
Double checking. 20.
20 points of damage?
No.
Seven.
I added the 5 twice. You're right. Yeah, 15.
15. Still a substantial hit for these guys. As you kind of carve into it twice, you can see it's not looking too hot. It's looking kind of on par with the other creatures in its Karad. There is still the one that looms over Zesserin untouched at this very moment. So that ends your go, or would you like to move? I know you're kind of like basically standing in Drusk's way.
That's where I want to be.
Gotcha. Draku, you are up, and I believe unconscious.
Yeah.
Maslin, you're lucky you played a wizard, and I decided to design this kind of encounter, which I'm regretting deeply.
All right, well, I'm gonna head actually, like, catty corner the camera a little bit, and it's gonna be southwest of where I'm facing. Or, I'm gonna head basically, yeah, that direction. Yep,
How far do you want to go?
all the way, all 30, or at least until I can't. I'm gonna go around to keep a 5-foot barrier. You know, just figure it however you need to. Okay,
So you
and
get
then
there.
I'm gonna cast a level 1 chromatic orb against that displacer beast.
Okay. You are aware that this ranged attack would have disadvantage, as it has not been struck by an attack yet. And it is currently, its form is shifting in the air. So I don't know if that's still what you want to do. That's entirely up to you.
No, then I'm gonna cast magic missile.
Okay, there you go. Roll me some damage, sir.
And that's pretty good, actually. It's 11 points of damage.
That is very good for magic missile. That is above
At
average, I
level
believe.
1, yes, sir.
Yeah, that's above average. Okay, as you're almost thinking you're pulling out the diamond and focusing light through it, and then you're like, no, I ain't fucking around. Zestrin's on the ground. You instead just draw a symbol in the air, and out of it shoot these 3 missiles that strike true. Damage is damage. Although that one is the only one on the battlefield that is fresh at the moment. But
Yeah,
now,
well, hopefully, I have its attention.
now no
because-
longer shifting. And I will remind
Yeah.
you, for the purposes of next round, Mazlin, that in case you are not aware, you can send a magic missile to multiple different targets.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I know, but
Okay.
I never want to. I never have ever wanted to.
Well, I would say in this instance it might be beneficial if you hit multiple, for they would lose their shifting form.
That's true. You're right.
It's okay. I don't want to backseat game you. I just want to let you know that
Yeah.
Mazlin would be aware of that.
This is one of the very few examples I could ever think of. Thanks for telling me.
Yep. Zestrin, I need you to roll a d20 for me.
Oh my. 8.
You fail 1 death saving throw.
Using another dice.
Well, that brings us to Displacer Beast. I'm just going to start with rocks because it's easiest. You went reckless, I believe.
Yep.
14 with its first.
Nope.
What does this thing add? And no, it's another 14. This is a +6. This sucks. Okay. You see as it reaches out with these 2 tentacles, missing you just barely, and as it kind of doesn't manage to land a hit on you, it just kind of turns its head towards Drusk.
You need better dice, my guy.
I know. The one that's the one that's under it insinuation. What was your DC, Mazlin?
What'd you roll?
I rolled a 13, so I don't think it makes it.
Suck.
Does it take a D12 at the top or whatever of your turn? Yeah.
9 damage.
Okay. It's like on its last legs. It's like unironically on its last legs.
Now,
Or-
do his tentacles count as legs or what?
It's on its 4 final legs. I guess. I don't know. The one that's next to Naratai sees no reason not to lay into Naratai. If he can. Does manage to hit Naratai. 4. Plus. Wow, as it rolls double 6s. Naratai. It's down to 60. Got it. Okay. And then the final one that is standing near. Oh boy, look who walked away. Right, and I need to know his AC. It's
I know what it is. It's
He's gonna
14.
take 2 strikes at Mazlin. The first one is a 18 to hit.
I'm gonna cast shield.
Okay. The second one was a.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast shield.
Okay. The second one was a 16 to hit, so neither hit then. That ends their go. Yep, because the one that's fucking insinuated is insinuated. Great. Well, I need everyone to make a charisma saving throw. Start of the round,
Everyone.
except for you, Mr. Elf Boy.
What about me?
You are unconscious by other means.
That's actually a really good question.
I mean, you said everyone.
Sorry, Drusk.
I'm counting down. If you've noticed.
Yeah. What'd you get, Draku?
26.
Nice. Gardak, Draku, both conscious. Rox?
I don't want to talk about it. Out of 4.
Goodbye, rage.
I know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Kill.
Okay. That brings us back up to the top. Drusk, unfortunately. Gardak, however, and Naratai both made it, so go ahead, Gardak. What you got? I'll roll some attacks for Naratai while we're here, because he ain't doing anything else.
Okay,
Disadvantage, it still hits.
I'm going to switch to my long sword
Okay.
and shield, and I guess keep working on the one that's east of me. So
The one with Naratai?
yeah.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, the first attack is an 18.
18. It would be a disadvantage.
Okay.
As you kind of press in.
And-
Unless you want to... I don't know if you can even get to flanking.
Okay.
You could
so
theoretically
18
get
is
to
the-
flanking if you really wanted to.
Well, 18 was the disadvantage, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then that fucking hits. I'll just put you here then.
6 points for that one, and then second attack. Did you move me to flanking or no?
No, but at this point it wouldn't be a disadvantage because now that you've struck it, its shifting form has dissipated. So it's just a
Okay.
straight roll for you.
So that's a 19.
That also hits.
And that's 7 points.
7 points as you strike in once, then twice. Naratai alongside you, about to ready his scimitar to bring it down to bear. Damn it, I said bear again. However, you manage to strike. You manage to strike the creature, and its form falters and falls into the snow. So that is
Got it.
both of your actions, and I believe 15 or 20 feet of your movement. If you wanted to get moving somewhere else.
I'm gonna move towards. Fuck.
I don't know if that helps at all. Probably doesn't help.
No, that's pretty good.
I guess northwards. There's that one.
Okay. I believe you had 10 feet of movement left, so. You would have had 5 more, I believe.
I'll
That is
take
as
it.
far as you get with your 2 attacks. Naratai was gonna do that, but you did it. Actually, Naratai, seeing this peril, yeah, is gonna cast Healing Word on Zesserin as a first move.
There we go.
Zesserin, at the very least, he will be conscious in this manner as you heal 5 hit points.
Yay.
5 hit points. Congratulations.
I'm back.
It's okay. You're just on the ground. It's cold in the snow. Now, Naratai.
Preserving your organs.
Is this still a whole action to
Yeah.
feed someone a potion if they're alive?
It is a bonus action to drink one yourself, and it is an action to feed it to someone else. As it requires uncorking and then coordinating gulping. Naratai is going to take a strike at disadvantage on Mr. Displacer. Oh no, he's incapacitated. So I just will consider this as 2 strikes, which both hit. So, okay, so these. Bonk. Scimitar. Scimitar again.
Please.
This is the one that was on its last legs. Yes, this is number 1. It
Please.
dies.
Yes. Yes, that's what I needed. Thank
dies.
you.
It
Thank
had
you. Rules of dice and logic and numbers. Thank you.
Less HP than Naratai just dealt. But that was his full movement, so that ends his go. Rox, unfortunately, I believe you are unconscious. However, Dranku, Mazlin on deck.
There's only 2 left.
There are.
All right, the closest one to me, I'm gonna hit with Eldritch Blast.
Go for it. I believe
15.
I believe it's a disadvantage because it hasn't been struck yet.
Okay.
Which
yeah,
one?
You're right.
The one that's next to you,
That is-
Mazlin.
I struck with a magic missile. Yeah.
Yeah, that was last turn though.
Oh, okay.
Each round it continues.
Okay. All right. Sorry.
That's right. Yeah, it was. My first roll was 15.
Until the end of its next turn. No, actually. It would have been back at the start of the round, is theoretically when it would have been back. Because it ended its turn after you hit it. Sorry, what'd you say?
My lowest is
Drocker?
15.
The lowest is 15. 15 hits.
Okay, then I'm rolling for the second one.
Go for it. The second one will be a straight roll.
Oh, okay. Well, it was a 19 then.
That hits. Roll you up some Eldritch Blast force damage.
Um, 25.
Okay. That is a substantial chunk of its HP. As you kind of blast out with this Eldritch energy, you can see it striking in the center. Its torso, first the first bolt, and then all of a sudden the image unshifts. And you almost think to yourself, I got you now, and send a second one straight and true. It is looking about as wounded as his other compatriot. Mazlin, Zesserin on deck.
All right. I'm gonna cast an intuition. I'm a saving throw of 15 from the homeboy straight in front of me.
Okay. Oh man, I hate that spell. It rolled a 10 total.
Sucks to suck, nerd.
Yeah. As it is
I'm also
currently...
I'm also gonna take a 10-foot step away, just for at a leisurely pace. no
Oh,
less.
okay. Yeah. Go. This is. I realized this encounter was a mistake because it's a chance for Maslin to flex. Any whoosies. Does that end your go? And does it take psychic damage at the end of its turn, or what?
No, I'll take another 5-foot step to my left, actually.
Okay.
I'm joking. That's what I'm gonna turn.
No, you already took the step. Zesserin, you are conscious. I'm assuming
Okay,
you'd like
well-
to stand.
Yes, I would like to stand actually.
As you kind of stand up, you can see this creature next to you that was harrying you currently seems to be trying to fight through some sort of mental block that is the tentacles and the form is no longer moving. You are still considered in melee with it though, but you could always walk away as it is incapacitated.
Does it have? Is it not able to move?
Does not appear to be threatening you.
All right, level 2 clatter daggers on it.
Okay.
In that spot
That's-
right there.
I guess incapacitated, it probably fails the saving throw automatically, doesn't it?
Well, there is nothing. I just make daggers appear.
Yeah.
So it's ever there gets
That's
to.
walk into it though.
Oh yeah, it sure does.
No.
Did we
I mean, you
retcon
can,
that
You
though?
can throw it at it. I remember worrying about how the spell worked. Let me just read it. When it enters the spell's area for the first time, it's going to start a turn there anyway. So just roll your 4d4.
Okay.
As it
This is
physically
level
can't even
2.
dodge this. It's incapacitated.
Dude, on mine.
This is the fourth
9
one.
points of damage.
On 44? Oh no. But you know what we say about damage in this place. Okay. Yeah, as you kind of... Did you want to step away from this creature?
Yeah, I'm just gonna, walk away. Yeah.
So I put you in the middle of your
that-
friends?
Yeah.
Neat. As you're kind of backing up, you twist your hands, and these almost arcane knives begin to spin and twist. And you can see the tentacles floating above, and the chest just getting torn asunder by this. That ends your go. It brings us to their turn. The Displacer Beast, who is incapacitated by an insinuation, rolls a natural 1.
Oh,
The
suck-
one that is
suck,
next
nerd.
to Rox.
Takes 3 damage.
Oh, okay. I'll mark that down. As he is not looking hot these days. Rox, an attack. I believe you're asleep. Not that you didn't go reckless anyway. I'm pretty sure a 22 hits you.
It does.
6 and 8, 9. 18 points of damage.
Okay.
As you are not raging anymore, I believe.
No.
Okay. Its second strike, even though you did go reckless, you are still able to defend yourself against this one, theoretically. And it would make sense that it can't hit you with a 14.
Nope.
Great. That ends their go. Brings us back up to the top. Charisma saving throws from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
No,
Still counting down, Drusk? Oh boy.
Ooh,
16.
4.
What'd you get, Draku?
Oh, sorry. Was I rolling this for charisma?
Yep.
21.
That succeeds.
Nice.
Rox, I don't have you written down whether or not you succeeded here.
On which one? Charisma, a new one?
Yeah.
That would be, nope, 14.
14, unfortunately. So, back up the top.
Love how we know.
Yeah. Well, you know what the DC is now. You kind of reasoned it out. Gardek, you are unconscious, I believe.
Yes.
As with Drusk. Oh, I need to roll for Nartai. What am I thinking? Nartai actually fails. Your Shield of Faith drops as well.
Oh.
So your AC is now back to a more reasonable 18, I
Nartai.
believe. Yeah. So Nartai is unconscious as well. Rox is unconscious. Draku, Maslin, Zesserin. In that order.
Wait, me first?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, then the same one I hit last time, I hit with Eldritch Blast again. Is he freaking out?
What do you mean?
Do I have to roll at
Oh,
disadvantage?
the one that you hit is gone. There is one that is incapacitated and one that is attacking Rox and Drusk.
Alright, I guess the one that's attacking them, I'll just hit it with Eldritch Blast.
Okay, go for it.
Do I have to roll at disadvantage?
You would for the first strike.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say 10 because first one was a 3.
10, unfortunately, does not. Second strike or second beam.
18.
18 does hit.
Nice. 10. Damage.
10. Nice. It's against 3. Not looking hot. Not looking hot at all because rocks chopped it literally in half. And its form now no longer shifting and moving. Maslin, Zesser, and on deck.
All right, I'm gonna pull out my dagger. We're up to old boy.
Sure. It'll be
Yep.
a crit, I guess.
Incapacitated doesn't do anything but stop them from taking action.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, really?
Get my conditions better.
Okay, well, it's still a 19 to hit.
That hits.
All right, and it takes a grand total of 8 points of damage.
Hey.
Sucker.
I love how you've decided to get in melee with it. Just shows how brave you are.
You know, I really needed to use my dagger at least fucking once.
Yeah, just
so-
get it a little red. Just get it a little dirty.
Sometimes physical combat is the
I'm
best.
assuming you want to stay in melee or do you want to walk back?
No, I'll take a good old 10-foot step back.
Okay.
Oh no, it's incapacitated. Okay.
Yeah, he's got it held by a vice grip in its stupid ass
Got it.
mind.
Yeah,
just like- Just like Drusk, unfortunately, is held in a sleeping grip. Zesserin, you were up.
Okay, let's see what I've been thinking. All right,
It's gonna
so
drop a fucking bomb on these kids.
Well, you can't say bomb and kids in the same sentence online. You'll go away for life.
deleted. Let's see. Okay, here's a bigger picture. I'm going to attack the monster that was right by me
Okay.
with a. Let's do a level 1 chromatic orb.
Go
We'll
for it.
do. Oh yeah. Do this first. That's 16 to hit.
That does hit.
Okay, good. Let's see.
Incapacitated.
What do I want to do? Let's do lightning damage.
Oh, I wish you
Yes.
would.
Okay, go ahead and roll your damage.
3d8. Shit, I'd rather 8 with me.
Not really sure how it panned out, but the remaining two have the same amount of HP.
14 points of lightning damage.
Okay. As you strike into it, you can see its form beginning to fail, as it is very nearly depleted of its life. So it seems. And
Yeah.
we'll see how it does on its wisdom saving throw. Since it is in the end of your turn, I believe, unless you wanted to move. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
It failed its wisdom saving throw.
And it takes 12 points of damage.
As I roll a 5.
Suck 11.
Okay. If you can believe it, that actually did not kill it by 1 HP.
But a
Five.
dagger
Wait,
will.
is that the one that had the
Dagger
daggers?
will, though.
Shit. Yeah, roll your
Oh,
roll your
shit.
damage.
Yeah.
Roll your damage. I forgot about the cloud of daggers.
There it is. All right, let's see. 10.
Nice. Literally just for
Take
stats.
down.
Enjoy. Okay, that ends that one's go, and yeah,
Fuck
I
these
mean,
displaced
it's right here in
motherfuckers.
front of rocks, and rocks chopped it the fuck up. You were unconscious, I believe, right?
Yes, I am.
An 18 would hit you, I believe.
Yes, I would.
And the second strike would. You didn't go reckless, did you? So it'd just be a straight
I
roll.
didn't go.
Yeah.
I didn't go at
So
all.
it would just be a straight roll in the second because you would be woken up, and that one would not hit you with a 13.
Nope.
So the one that did hit you, however, $10 points doubled to 20, as I don't
Nice.
believe you're raging.
I am not.
Okay. That is its go, however, and brings us back up at the top. Charisma saving throws.
Natural 20.
Nice.
7.
4.
Cheeky boy.
12.
Draku.
18.
18. Well, with that layout... Oh, wait. Narutai. Hey! Narutai makes it!
Hey.
Good
But-
job.
Narutai really can't do anything. What spells does Narutai have? He's gotta have something. Oh, hell. Why not? Oh, yeah, this is funny. I'm pretty sure you've cast this once before, Drusk. You kind of watch as Narutai almost conjures up from the ground this almost rotten mushroom. And just throws it as he kind of presses in. Just behind this creature, who needs to make a Constitution saving throw. And fails with a natural 1. What does this do? Yeah. Spends its turn retching and reeling. Great. Okay. Well, that ends Narutai's go. Brings us to Rox. Rox, now this creature is in front of you. This poisonous cloud has begun to kind of burgeon around it, and you can see that it's stumbling. I don't honestly know if it loses its displacement, but I'll say that it does. So it's, you may make your strike at Reckless if you like, and you would get advantage from it.
Yeah, the first combat was 1, and then my second one. I've only used one
Oh,
rage
yeah.
here because I've been up and down. Yeah, rage, Regulus,
Go for it.
non-natural 20.
Yeah, that hits.
17.
Points of damage.
Yes,
Okay. Second strike.
Reckless.
Yep.
Hold on, I'm 25. No, yes, 25.
25 hits.
No, it's not. Okay. 9 points of damage.
Okay. What was your first point of damage or bit of damage? I fucking forgot already because I'm an idiot.
17.
17.
I forgot.
Okay. It is fucking on its last legs as you have basically reduced it to where it was before it took some Cloud of Dagger damage. Does that end your go?
Yep.
Draku.
Eldritch Blast.
Yeehaw. Straight roll. As it is currently...
17. Or 24.
Yeah, that hits.
26.
Go ahead and roll your damage. Well, lesson learned.
16 damage.
Go ahead and flare your finish, my friend.
I just hit him right in the chest and make him explode.
Yeah, Rox, as soon as you get done laying into him, you can see as it's kind of reeling from your 2 strikes, just from its almost hitting its side and making it almost tumble and roll through the snow. All of you kind of taking a moment amongst yourselves. No more ambushers at the present moment.
Are we still sleepy?
By all appearances, go ahead and make another No, I won't even ask. The area pervades. However, you do not seem to be currently under threat. So each of you begin to feel the lethargy sleep back in, except for Maslin. I'll never do anything regarding sleep again. I've learned my lesson. Ridiculous. I'm assuming we're working on the dome, or are we feigning to push through?
Well, how does the party feel? Would we like
Sure.
to stop and camp and maybe cook some of this meat, recover? Who knows what's
Ooh.
ahead?
We're gonna smoke some meats. for that.
Yeah, I say we stop. I'm pretty useless.
I'm hurt.
Yeah,
I'm super useless.
I am almost out of spell slots.
I'm also exhausted, Maslin would say.
hmm
Okay. Kind of kneeling once again in the snow, restarting the incantation. Fear kind of sets in as you guys all resume the circle around Maslin. Perception checks from everybody. Who is watching, except for Maslin. Sorry. As he begins to work on the dome.
Poor sleepy boy.
Working on the dome.
Not natural 20.
Oh my fucking.
0.
Draku, there's still the adrenaline in your veins, knowing how dangerous this situation gets, but the quiet of the snow is pervasive. The meadow is still and silent. 10 minutes pass. The incantation is finished. The dome erected, I imagine, in a color that matches the snow.
Purple.
Okay. The dome emerges. You can see
Maybe
this
Fairies will like
purple
it.
bubble of a form.
Mm,
In a
As-
threatening purple.
Okay, it's like a peacock threatening purple.
yeah,
Dome.
like we mean business.
Uh-huh. Okay, I see.
Business purple.
You guys are all able to find your way within. In here, it is not cold with the unbidden chill of the night. The quiet of the meadow settles, as most of you, still nodding in and out of sleep, are all given a moment. You all watch as Naratai, kind of stumbling as he does, makes his way over to a tree, doing what you can only assume is a very familiar retreat, as he has done each night. But then he stops and pauses in the snow, and instead turns back and stands outside the dome. I would deign to join you if I can.
I fear we will lose you.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way.
I mean that way. I don't know.
Hmm.
If we can find our way without you, or you can find your way to us. This is a difficult.
I thought perhaps... It would be nice to have some company. As he kind of steps into the dome. Each of you are able to complete a long rest, and as per my revisions to how long rests within the dome work, you may talk amongst yourselves if you have anything specific you would like to talk about.
But are we? Because, like, I thought, are they still sleepy or not?
I mean, when you are attempting to stay lucid, there are dips in and out of consciousness. But overall, you all are able to find your way to a proper sleep. It is only when you are trying to fight the pervasive nature, or the constant lethargy, that you are, in and out, per se.
I just didn't know if I was going to have to watch them the whole fucking night.
Well, you are able to meditate as an elf. You do not actually sleep, so... I don't know. You tell me. But in terms of danger and threats, you do not need to take specific watches whilst within the dome, as nothing can penetrate it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, the 6 of you, 7, I suppose, have opportunities to talk amongst yourselves, if that's something you would like to do, or we can move on to morning.
DM, do we have any sort of idea how close we are to kind of breaking through this last kind of like bit of the trip?
Are you asking? You can ask Naratai, but you personally don't know.
Okay.
As you know that he's not leading you in a straight direction, a straight mason.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So, Naratai, do you
Okay,
have any
turn
metal
still
within
getting-
you?
Metal. You mean
Yes.
like the woods?
Pulls out a dagger. Is any of this within you? Deep inside, throughout you?
I'm,
Should
com-
do that again.
I'm comprised of many things and can be many things. Why do you ask?
So, can you be a cannon? Can you be a gun?
You mean like the corrupted Ent? No.
Many things can be corrupted. Could you be to the point where you might be a gun? Do you think?
There's almost a moment when, for one of the first times other than when he was kneeling over his mate, you see emotion kind of wash over his face. Very unemotive figure Naratai is.
Can I hear this? I'm sorry.
For the purposes of resting within the dome, as I have described before, you may all talk amongst yourselves, and unless it is a private conversation, everyone can more or less hear it, yes.
I don't think he would have gotten us this far if there were anything corrupted about him.
But
We
could
have-
he be? Was
We
my
helped
question.
fight the corrupted ones, so why would he want us to do that?
No, he's not. But could he be? Is my question. If corrupt.
If I fall to the fates as my mates did, and I'm enslaved in the tools that they brought and left behind, as she was, I imagine I would be whatever it is those devices wanted me to be.
How did you manage to escape such fate? On the edge of some random town. Humans.
If you're speaking about the ruins, I'm not from there.
No. Where we found you. How did you find yourself there? At what looked like peace.
There are places within this valley, you see as he kind of glances around, indicating even this is one. So secluded from standard travel. You do not come upon me by mere accident, I do not believe. Nor by good travel, but by fate. I was fortunate in when they came with all their weapons and their tools, subjugating hundreds. I was, after I lost her, the last. And I found such a retreat.
You are soul. To find somewhere to rest.
You are cutting out at the moment. I cannot hear you.
You are a lucky old soul. To find somewhere to rest. Hope that when you are done with us, return.
He does not reply.
Maslin takes a good 4 seconds and returns to his bedroom. Or actually outside, because he's actually keeping watch.
Okay.
Times.
If there is a point in time where Gardak and I are both awake, I would want to kind of pensively ask Gardak, what do you think happens once we get to the city? Once we get to the capital?
I'm not sure. It's been a while since I was there, and I'm not sure what we should expect.
I've been thinking a lot about it, and whether or not my family is there when we get there, we could be. I don't know why they would have us drawn there. I don't know what my family had to do with anything other than reporting information on the attack, but why wouldn't they let them leave?
I assume we'll find out. I don't think there's anything malevolent happening, but
Okay.
I mean, you can never be sure.
No, I can't. I was just hoping, I mean, you have more experience there than I do, so.
I think if we go first thing to the Emperor and Empress and ask, I mean, the fastest way to get your question answered is to ask it. So.
That's true. That's true. Okay.
If only for the sake of clarity, Rox.
Mhm.
You do recall when Genfiel reached out through what appeared to be magical means, that he reported that refugees, seemingly from your tribe, had arrived and were currently given refuge, although they refused it and set up outside of Ember Crossing.
Right. My question was more about what happens when we get there. It was more a Gardak question than it was about
It's understandable.
anything.
You just
Is there any
you're-
chance?
I guess my clarification to you would be: at no point was it ever stated that your family or your people were being interred in any manner. Because I think you said
No,
something.
no,
along
no.
those
That's
lines.
not how I meant it.
Okay.
Either.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
That you understood that.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that Maslin might have overheard this conversation slightly?
If it was deemed to be a private conversation, the answer is no. But I'll leave that up to Gardak and Rox.
I mean, I wasn't. I was just looking for information. I wasn't being secretive.
Okay. We will
Maslin
say you
would
hear it.
interject at the very end. Do you know of any persons of particular interest in the capital? I mean, very close to the High Royal Command. I actually have ties with some elven lineage, and I kind of want to get up to speed on what's happening.
In terms of what's happening recently?
Historically, globally, empirically. Yes, just anything. I mean, is there any names you would know of somebody who I could approach, per se?
If the person we talk to doesn't answer your questions, I might be able to tell you who can.
I'm sorry, what does that mean?
In the interest of, I suppose, privacy, while I do have a history with the capital, I don't want to go into great detail. But once we get there, we'll kind of have to deal with that anyways. So if the person I know can't help you, they will know who can. But I'm fairly confident they should be able to answer any questions that you might have.
After a long silence, Maslin will say, I understand.
You all let me know when you were ready to move on to morning.
I don't think I
Morning
have.
time. Morning time. Yay.
Throughout the night, the meadow is still silent, and you can hear in the distance the creaking and croning of the trees, thudded footsteps. You're put aside yourself as you realize your guardians have apparently let something through, but you don't know what, if anything, they protected you from externally. As you all
Fair.
finish your rest, you all are able to complete a long rest. Congratulations. The morning comes. It's still cold enough. The snow doesn't necessarily melt, but it has stopped snowing. Naratai himself rising, most of you gathering your things. You all ready to press on?
Yes.
I would like to say, if it's all right, because Drusk went to bed before the battle and was never technically conscious during it, I would have liked to have waken up early and just, not knowing there was a fight, walked outside, seen the displacer beasts, and just started chopping away at meat.
Okay. Sure. Did you want to create any items, or are you just flaring that?
No, I'll just try to grab some. I mean, I have shit. We have as many javelins as we could possibly carry at this
Right.
point.
Okay.
So no, just some good old cat meat.
Yeah, the first pang of a thing that hits your ears, Zesserin, is the shattering of bone as you kind of look over and you watch Gardak almost separating some cartilage on one of the legs of the
Jesus.
Displacer Beast. Each of you now awakening after your sleep, you can still feel the presence. Whereas last night you're tired traveling, having already fought nature, obviously made you ready to go to sleep in this environment. Now you feel what originally, as you kind of wandered in, that this is just a really nice place, and you find each of you waking up and catching thoughts of, I could stay here, but then reason hits you, and you realize, I have to go, however. But the environment here is welcoming enough to tempt. there are bouts of each of you kind of catching yourself, almost lolling as you were last night. But gathering your things and traveling onward, I assume.
Yes.
Before I set down my tent, I want to pick up a little snow pile, form it into a ball, imagine fatherly figure, throw it, loving.
As you kind of throw it, underneath your sleeve, tucked within, you feel that last item. It reminds you why you're on the path that you're on. A small stone. As Ashira Joro had inspected it, and not an answer was had, but this... The truth doesn't fly as far as that snowball might have. You may feel confident that you may soon have your answers. What little you can get. So, I will fast forward, because boy isn't this shit boring. It is another 2 days of travel, unimpeded. As you make your way out of the snow camp of your first day, you can see, almost catching at times glances of motion shifting trees. And as you can progress on, you can see fallen forms of various beasts, some of them contorted, some of them seemingly predators like you had seen before. You're not certain how long ago these beasts were slain, if they are interred in the cold of the growing winter, or if they are recent fresh kills. But you know that your guardians seem to be transporting you, as best they can at least, having already made one mistake. About midday, you hop into another one of these gates of a form. As your first day comes to a close, and then your second, you've now jumped twice more, and the cold and the snow has gone away. And finally, as you guys follow Naratai, you can see as the swamp, the tree line begins with this almost brightened light. And you can see and hear the rushing of water. As you emerge, you can see what appears to be one of the largest rivers any of you have seen. And just on the other side, a sight for most of you, Quildeep. The twinkling lights that you saw in the distance while on the Bateau gondola, now in this moment you can see are magical lighting. Various forms, cyans, yellows, blues, pinks, purples. You all see a city wreathed in bronze, well-constructed, fashioned buildings, and across this river, you can see multiple water mills, using the river as its source for seemingly everything. A singular spire rises up. Gardak, you know this to be the Keen Spire. And although looking at it from this angle, you're not treated to the wondrous sight of the entry, as Gardak kind of explains the layout of the city, kind of points out the Terrace of Accord and the Gallery of Tribunals. Most of you have never seen such opulence when it comes to a proper vista of civilization. You can see across the river, which is probably a good quarter mile, half mile wide at certain places. You can see the varying farm fields that stretch for miles beyond your vision. You see carts rolling up and down what you know to be the Brewer's Path and the King's Fork. You kind of take in this overall sight of Quildeep. You all realize Naratai, standing 15 paces behind you. Also taking in this sight.
Maston would approach Naratai. Get within 1 foot. And say, you spoke once of 2 specks of darkness within this forest, swamp, whatever you would call it. Where is the second?
Buried deep, I'm afraid. And it wasn't your path to follow.
How were you sure that was not our path? We could have been anywhere. We could have been any.
You see almost a heaving of the shoulders, a short chuckle. I'm not certain it wasn't your path, because I did not create it. I followed it.
I only hope, old friend, the echoes of what we read reach to this other dark part, this other dark part in your.
Yeah, speak up, bud. You're cutting out.
I only hope that this journey we weave will reach to another dark part in your heart and another dark part in your land and cure it too.
I get a strange sense this might not be the last time we meet. And that makes me happy. And you see a crack of a small smile. When battle came to my lands, I saw what you, 6 people like you, are capable of. Heroes. The last one I escorted was not enough, but I saw what he was capable of. I'm sure one day you'll have means to contact me should you need.
Bid thee well, ancient friend.
Home awaits. As he takes a step, and then another back. You can see as he doesn't turn around, he just walks back. You can see his silver eyes receding. And then once again, almost walking back as a almost gate in a tree appears, enveloping him. And Naratai is gone.
I'll throw him a thumbs up as he leaves.
You see a nod. And then he steps back. All of you now turning, seeing Quilldeep just on the shore, across the river. You made it. And that's where we're going to end the session.
Cool.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I learned a little regret in counter design this time. That Displacer Beast fight
What?
was not something
Displacers
I
are the
enjoyed.
best. The greatest.
No.
You have to always do them at level 1. Duh.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I
almost
could have
died.
handled it better is the answer. I believe that encounter needed more work.
Honestly, I think it was done very well. It's just that Displacers fucking suck.
I thought
Because
it was
they
fun.
intentionally drag shit out too long, basically.
It was more about the
I'll
sleeping thing.
admit. Yeah, no, well, okay. The sleeping thing, that's not Displacer warning, is it?
No,
Yeah.
no,
See.
that was something I added into
Yeah.
without having to
I
throw
thought
12
we were-
Displacer Beasts at you to try to make the encounter challenging. But what it ended up doing was, in my opinion anyway, taking away player agency.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna die, honestly.
Yeah, I
Like,
I had no issue with
thought
it.
I was gonna burn through my rages, and I did.
honestly, I didn't think we were gonna make it through it just because of, action economy, basically.
Well, at the very least, Thank you for joining me, guys. We will be back next session, Quill Deep. I have been wanting to rush you guys there, but I gotta take my sweet time.
Yeah, damn shame that
As a note,
nobody got
outside
one
of
meeting.
the game, I will be checking. Outside of the game, I will be checking over things and deciding at some point whether or not you guys level up as you reach Quill Deep, or perhaps when you leave Quill Deep. I will let you guys know outside of game, and we will level up outside of game.
Oh boy, leveling up.
We will probably do everything except for roll your HP outside of the game, if that occurs. But unless you guys go and start killing people, I'm imagining next session will probably be some RP and some shopping, maybe. So I'm not imagining you guys will have combat. But I will prepare things in case, because you all are fucking nuts sometimes. Alrighty, guys.